It should be up there already.
Mayor, go ahead.
That's
All right,
meeting
everybody
packet,
ready?
that's not Unicode. You don't have Unicode on there. Here we go.
Got it?
Oh, let me get my glasses. Okay, I'll get there.
Okay. All right. I would like to call to order the public hearing and regular monthly meeting for the Haymarket Town Council for this evening, Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. Roll call, please.
Casanello,
Present?
Larson,
Here.
Gallagher,
Here.
Cater,
Here.
Ramirez,
Here.
Baker, PNA.
Here.
Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wow, that was the best I've heard.
Okay. I would like to invite Reverend Chelsea Morse, the new pastor at Haymarket Church, to the podium to give us this evening's invocation.
Good morning, Town Council. My name is Reverend Chelsea Morse, and I am the new pastor. Just moved in here in July, and it's great to be in this town and great to be with you all. We meet at Haymarket Elementary School at 10 a.m. Emily mentioned earlier today about just giving you some announcements. We're going to be doing a program called Rise Against Hunger on October 5th. After worship services, the whole community is invited. Our goal is to pack 15,000 meals to address global food insecurity, and we'd love to have our community partners with us. But at this time, I would love to lift up a prayer as we begin our time together. Loving God, who gathers us in the spirit of community, as we gather here today in Haymarket, we come together with hearts full of gratitude for this vibrant community that we share. We recognize the diverse leaders in our midst who dedicate their time and talents to serve our town. We celebrate their diversity and the ways the growth of this town continues to flourish, and ask that we seek your guidance in the decisions before us today. May our leaders be blessed with wisdom to discern the best paths forward as we develop our community. Let their hearts be open to collaboration and their minds clear as we navigate the challenges ahead. We ask that we may take a moment to express our deep appreciation for Bob and the gifts that he brought to our community. May his contributions continue to inspire us to continue working together for the greater good. And as we embark on this meeting, may our conversations be fruitful, our decisions be thoughtful, and our actions reflect our shared commitment to Haymarket. In unity and hope, we gather and continue to lead with the love of our neighbor in the forefront of decisions and our discussions. Amen.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, we would like to recognize and give tribute to our great colleague and friend, Bob Weir. I would like to read the following proclamation into the record. Whereas Robert B. Bob Weir moved to the town of Haymarket with his family in July 2000, and whereas Bob and his beloved wife Diane raised 3 accomplished children, Sam, Michael, and Megan, all having attended Prince William County Public Schools, informing Bob's support of a strong public school system, teacher appreciation, the value of education in general as befits a graduate of the University of Virginia and proud member of the Who Crew. And whereas Bob embraced the call to duty and action in service to the community he called home and loved. And whereas Bob, in furtherance of his passion to serve his community and his unshakable belief in open and transparent government, ran for office to make a difference and was elected to the Haymarket Town Council for his first term in 2004, was appointed to the Haymarket Planning Commission and served as chairman until 2018, and again was elected to council in 2020. serving with distinction until 2023 when he was elected the Gainesville District Supervisor to the Prince William Board of County Supervisors. And whereas Bob dedicated his life to public service by regularly attending town council and Board of County Supervisor meetings as a citizen, as well in his capacity as an appointed and elected official, speaking on behalf of his fellow citizens on issues of importance such as land use development, fiscal sustainability, and policy. And whereas Bob was well known and identified himself affectionately as the town curmudgeon. And whereas Bob was well respected for his leadership, integrity, and honesty, and was always available and ready to help a neighbor in need with his expertise in many areas of local and state government. Bob is described by others as follows, quote, "His passion lies with encouraging and empowering the residents of Prince William County to always demand from their elected officials fiscal responsibility and transparency, strict adherence to adopted policies, and state-mandated procedures, awareness that we must never stop improving the quality of public education, and always make public safety a top priority," end quote. Quote, "A vocal critic of the data center industry, Weir was involved in public service for more than 2 decades, serving multiple terms on both the Haymarket Town Council and the Haymarket Planning Commission, advisory boards, and community organizations," end quote. Bob was certainly a character. Underneath his tough facade was a heart of pure gold who cared deeply about our community. He was not only a respected leader, but also a neighbor, a mentor, and a friend to many. Bob served with humility and purpose, always guided by his belief in good governance and civic responsibility. His contributions to our county reflect a vision rooted in preserving the character of our neighborhoods while preparing for the future, end quote. And whereas Bob helped craft multiple pieces of state and local legislation, many which became law in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And whereas Bob's ubiquitous presence and drive had an indelible and profound impact on the town of Haymarket, especially affecting the council, staff, constituents, and friends. Those working closely with or knowing Bob will always remember his classic one-liners at the podium during Citizens' Time, in a gruff tone opening with, "Bob Weir, 6853 St. Paul Drive, but not for long." Or during budget season, sharing his thoughts on where he thought the budget was. "This is not ready for prime time." Or while speaking from the dais, "I am not going to die on this hill," or "I'm a hard no." And whereas the town of Haymarket will always remember Bob's contributions to the betterment of town, his legacy of a fair and open government for all serves as a reminder of Bob's strong leadership, dedication to those he served, and a sense of purpose in improving our quality of life. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Haymarket Town Council calls upon all citizens of the town, district, and county to recognize the extraordinary life and legacy of Robert B. Bob Weir, and does now proclaim April 13th, 2026, and each successive year thereafter, Bob Weir Government Open House Day, to encourage transparency and communication between citizens and their local elected officials, in witness thereof this second day of September 2025. At this time, I'd like to invite Bob's Chief of Staff, Rebecca Bear, and his Deputy Chief of Staff, Jennifer Pirelli, up to receive this on behalf of his family.
Bob always loved a good baseball hat.
All right. Are we wanting to do a photo?
Yes.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Photo? That's a great picture. Yeah.
Yeah, we're supposed to time. Every time I see.
Wonderful.
Public speaking was not supposed to be part of my job duties. It was an agreement Bob and I had. Well, now here I am. Thanks, Bob. On behalf of the Weir family and the Gainesville District, thank you so much for bestowing this honor upon Bob. On a personal note, Bob had commented time and time again when people had asked him, why aren't you looking for credit? Why aren't you, telling people you did this? Bob always said it's always a group effort. And besides, in 4 to 5 years, no one's ever going to remember my name. I always argued with Bob. I'm like, you're Bob, people are going to remember you. So I would like to thank the town council for giving me a check mark in the win column for your day of proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Emily, would you like to give a brief explanation on our vision of Bob Weir Open Government Day and why we chose that date?
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Bob always knew how to bring a packed house when he had a good reason. I had experience with that on Crossroads Village, I will say. He had standing room only. So no, thank you, everyone, for coming out. We're very excited about Bob Weir Government Open House Day. It's April 13th. For anybody who is a UVA fan, you know that's UVA Founders Day, and Bob loved UVA. He didn't let us forget that. So our goal here is Bob championed so many causes. He heard people. He met them where they wanted to be met. It wasn't always in a government setting. It was not always down at the county. Sometimes it was at Giuseppe's at the bar, and sometimes it was, at Haymarket Day. He would hold court. He would have his time, but he always heard people out. And so what we're hoping to do with this government day is to welcome in the Gainesville supervisor, whoever that may be, here in November, to come meet with us, to have a couple county representatives to come out and meet with us right here in Town Hall. Open this up to our residents, our constituents, anybody on this western end, anybody in the county can come, but we're focusing on the western end of the county. We're giving you a space to come in, talk with us, meet with us one-on-one. Let's sit across the table. Let's have conversations. Let's have those hard conversations that Bob always took as a great challenge. So our goal in this is to really just welcome in the public, find those new initiatives we need to be working on, give updates on the initiatives we've been working on, and really be there for our residents and our citizens and be the voice that they need. So we're hopeful that this will be a great partnership, not only with our Gainesville supervisor, but also with the county and anybody else who may want to join us who's in an elected position. So we're looking forward to it. We'll be reaching out to everybody. We'll be planning things. So go ahead and mark April 13th in your calendars and then keep that there. It's going to happen every year. So you're welcome.
So I would like to invite council as individuals, if they had anything that they would like to say. I understand that some of us are better at it than others, but you can speak now or hold it for a little bit later.
Good. Start on that end.
And to take the pressure off, Mayor, if you would like, I can start off on behalf of staff.
Yes, please.
Okay, is that it? On behalf of staff, the police department, Roberto, and I first would like to share some thoughts on the loss of Bob. Diane, Sam, Michael, Megan, Rebecca, Jen, We're devastated for your loss. Please know we're here to support you always. We are your community. Bob's passing shook us. It came unexpectedly, and it gave every single one of us great pause. Walking into this office that Monday morning after was somber. Seeing one another and admitting it was true was painful. Not only did we lose a former councilman, our Gainesville supervisor, our beloved town curmudgeon, our friend at the county, our peer, our mentor, we also lost our friend. When Bob was not sitting there on the dais as a council member, he often came to this very podium during citizens' time to voice his concerns, to educate, and to enlighten. He'd start his time by smacking down that yellow legal pad, 6853 St. Paul Drive, but not for long. He had his way about delivery, but one thing was certain, his message was always clear. And he made damn well sure that the individuals sitting on that dais and at that desk knew that message loud and clear. Bob, your time at this podium was never supposed to end like this. While Bob's loss has been a hard reminder of mortality, illness, and loss in the community, we in Town Hall have worked hard to challenge ourselves daily to keep Bob's teachings at the forefront. Bob was unapologetic. He was direct. He was the hard no, and you never had to guess where he stood on a matter. Bob challenged us each sitting at that desk. Some days, Roberto and I got a bigger run for our money than we expected at the end of every day. I can honestly say Bob challenged me to be a better public servant for our town. He challenged each of us in our capacities to be better and dig deeper, and for that, we thank you, Bob. I could continue on for a while, I'm sure. This past month, my staff and I have had many conversations about Bob, about the profound loss our community has had, about the challenges ahead, about all the good memories and lessons we have from Bob. Quite honestly, you'll hear us weekly in Town Hall saying, well, Bob would have done this, or Bob would say that's not ready for prime time. It pains us to know he's no longer a phone call away. He's not stopping in on his afternoon visit on the way home from the office on his way to feed the dogs. But we'll push on. We will sorely miss his input, but we'll do our best to keep his initiatives going and give support to the causes he found worthy. I hope all of us, especially those of us holding a government seat or an appointment, leave here tonight with a renewed fight in our hearts to be the best public servants we can be, to fight harder for the right answer, not the easy answer, to challenge our staff, to serve our residents to the best of our abilities, and to keep Bob's legacy alive by continuing to champion his initiatives, to include transparency and good governance. No one will ever fill Bob's shoes, but we can certainly do our part to keep his memory alive. Thank you, Mayor.
That was beautifully said. Does anyone want to speak?
Sure. Tough to follow that one up.
Yeah.
So I'll let Joe go first.
Okay. This is a tough day for Haymarket. It's been a tough month, 2 months. My heart goes out to the family, Diane, Megan, and others, Samantha, and Michael. That's right. I keep forgetting that. You know, this is a testament right here of Bob, his life and legacy. He could bring together all sorts of people from different backgrounds and different political philosophies and really unite people, whether people would agree with that or not. I sat next to Bob for 3 years on this dais, and it was the best 3 years I've ever had in government, I have to tell you. And we didn't agree on a lot of stuff. We saw things somewhat differently at times, but we could always sit down and have a beer afterwards, or, just, talk about it. And the one thing I'm really going to miss about Bob is the morning phone call. And I was talking to Elena about this earlier, and Danica before. The phone call wouldn't be good morning. It'd be like, rah, 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 right out of the box. And then, of course, it'd be, oh, good morning, Bob. How are you? And those calls aren't there any longer. And it's a it's a hole, at least in my heart, I can tell you that. And I do miss him a lot. Learned a lot from Bob, and we did a lot of good stuff that a lot of people didn't see. I mean, we've talked about this previously, right? A lot of behind the scenes stuff. And, Rebecca talked about Bob not taking credit. He didn't, but he did like to say, "I told you so." Right? He did like to say, "I told you so," especially if he was right. But I just want to thank all our elected officials here today coming, and I hope they have an opportunity to say something. And for everybody in the audience, it's just wonderful to see. And again, this is a testament to who Bob was, and he could put aside those political differences and just sit down and talk about life in general. History was one of the things I think I connected with Bob over. He was a real student of history. And yes, he was a UVA graduate. Wasn't too crazy about VTech, but yeah. And so the rest, I'll have some other comments later on, but I want to just say thank you, everybody, for showing up tonight. And it's just a wonderful thing to see. So thank you.
Thank you. Ken, did you have anything to say?
Yeah, I met Bob at Tyler Elementary School at one of the family parent functions. His son, Michael, and my son were in the same grade. So we met there. We became friends. We started out as friends. Bob's pursuit with governance gave me an introduction through a little nudging from Bob, as well as Jen and Rebecca. I did come in as the ARB on the ARB board, and because of his enthusiasm with governance, got me to where I'm sitting today. Right, if it wasn't for his efforts and his impact, it would have never have. I would have never have gotten this far. With my dedication to trying to help this our community as well. And just because of his community-minded and community services that he put together, just totally gave me the spark. And so I just want to portray that spark that he put in me to you, and the efforts that he did and the impact that he had with our community. And I am grateful for his efforts, and definitely mourn his loss. And thank you for all the representatives who've shown up today, Prince William County and state. Thank you for coming out. Thank you.
So I've been in Haymarket now for 20 years. I had the privilege of not knowing Bob just as a colleague and neighbor within the town, but I lived in the same neighborhood. In fact, he was fairly close to my house. So the first time I met Bob, it was looking over and getting to talk to him for a while, talking to some of the other neighbors, and coming away with the conclusion that this guy's crazy. This guy is out of his mind. And then, here 20 years later, I realized Bob is crazy. That never changed. The thing I always appreciated about him was he would hold anybody accountable. If you were going to sit up on this dais, if you were going to have a conversation with him, I got to even see him at the HOA meetings, about if, somebody, let's just say maybe didn't do something right with their mailbox. He was there to make sure he kind of looked at the requirements behind the scene. But he was very helpful to me as I was starting here. I come from a long family line of doing municipal government with the rest of my family up in New Jersey. But Bob was a great guy to kind of talk to about that. And I do recall kind of one recent memory where we were discussing something, and I wasn't seeing eye to eye with him. I wasn't seeing what he was seeing, and we were talking about it. He got frustrated with me, and he stopped talking, and he said, "You want to know any more? You need to have a beer." And so that's what we went and did. And I'll be honest, it's the only time I ever did have a beer with Bob. I've seen him. I was always there. Maybe we saw each other at Haymarket Day. We were casual about it. It was the first time I really just sat with him. And it was something I was looking forward to doing a lot more. because it was really helpful to me, especially being one of the newer members up here. And unfortunately, that time was cut short. But phenomenal man. I think I can't wait for April 13th. I'm wholeheartedly behind that. I think it is a phenomenal idea. Bob was all about transparency. He would have hated having his name associated with it, I think. But I really do look forward to doing this because I think it is in his spirit of making sure that we're all accountable up here and communicating and talking more with our constituents and our residents. So honored to be able to be a part of that. That's it.
Thank you. Hi, sorry, I'm not good with emotional public stuff. So, Bob was somebody who I deeply admired and respected. If I ever had a question and I wanted it answered truthfully, I never doubted that Bob would give it to me and give it to me straight. And there was one time where I was kind of frustrated because politicking isn't my thing at all. That's probably like my least favorite part about this job. And I called Bob to kind of give me a reality check. Like, am I overreacting? Like, is this a battle worth fighting? And he was like, it's not worth it. Like, just lay it down. And I feel like from that moment on, like he was kind of like my advocate behind the scenes. And I had this goal to do more community outreach events. And one of them was the open house where we would have readers. And as the self-proclaimed curmudgeon, I was really eager to get him to come in and read to children. And you know what? Every year, we did it 2 years, he came in and he did it. And our last one was about a month before he passed. And he came in and he read a book about the Pledge of Allegiance to the kids. And if that doesn't tell you what a committed man he was, committed to his community, committed to, education and civic mindedness, I don't know what does. So I deeply miss him, and he is an incredible role model, and I'm excited that we're going to honor him every year, and I hope everyone remembers that.
I had the pleasure of working with Bob on the Planning Commission, and very impressed by his knowledge, expertise in the matters of land use and many aspects of government. And we always took his lead, relied on his knowledge, and it was obvious based on his knowledge, his expertise, and how much time he dedicated to knowing different aspects of government, land use, and so forth. It's obvious that he cared. He cared about the town. I will personally deeply miss him. He leaves a lot of void, not only here within the town, but the county, in my personal opinion. And my condolences to his family. Great loss. Was a great guy. Happy to have known him, even though it was for a short period of time.
Thank you, Alexander. Olan, did you want to say anything?
I just want to say I would love to have seen Bob read to the kids. Been pretty cool to see, I think.
It was good.
Yeah, I want to see that video.
It was
It's
good.
pretty great.
It was good.
My condolences to Bob's family. Bob was such a wonderful guy to me personally. He was always very tough, always very direct, but he was always fair. And as a young attorney, I was terrified of Bob, to be honest with you. Because you never know what he's going to say or how he's going to approach it. But I found him to be a gentleman, and I found him to be very thoughtful. And the last time I saw him on the dais at a board meeting with supervisors, and I looked at him, and he looked more tired than usual, but I didn't realize he was sick. And it just brought to my mind that, you just don't know how much time you have with someone. And it's the importance of spending as much time as you possibly can with them and reminding them how much you love them when you have them. So just want to say again, condolences to Bob's family and to all of us. It's a tremendous loss for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you. There's so much that I could say about Bob. He was a great mentor and an incredible friend. And I would not be sitting here if it were not for him. Nobody can debate like him. He made it safe for me to learn and for me to express an opinion and to fight, even though we weren't going to agree. He helped me buy a car. I drove down and picked up a car that I loved. I will miss walking into Giuseppe's going, we need to talk. And you never knew, you sit and we could talk about politics, or we can sit and talk about other things, and a wealth of knowledge. When I was in a situation and needed help, he was at my house. He was fixing my door, and he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to show up for me like that, but he did. He loved teasing my Megan, a fellow UVA grad, whenever she would come home. So his passing is a deep, deep loss. And I hope every day when I sit in this chair or any other chair that I am making him proud by continuing to learn and work and serve. So my condolences to his family as well. Thank you. All right. So I would like to open the floor to the audience. I'd really like to welcome the Chair of Prince William Board of Supervisors, Desundra Jefferson, to the podium.
Thank you guys so very much. I wish I were here under better circumstances. And I'm going to agree with you, Joe. It is wonderful to see the audience, to see everyone out here, to see so many different people who Bob has touched. Now, I had a really hard time because when he passed away, reporters would ask, what is your favorite Bob story? But as Joe knows, none of them were fit to print. Only a few of us know. Rebecca and I joke about some of the stories. She knows. She's in the secret. But it is hard without Bob. Again, we didn't agree on everything. We sparred a lot. But he made me a better chair. He expected a lot from everyone in public office. And what I most appreciate was that he was there for his community. At the heart of public service for Bob was community. And how do we make things better for those that we serve? He didn't have a career mapped out. He wasn't looking for the next rung of the ladder. He was happy with where he was. And he also talked a lot about retirement. It's like, are you serious about that, Bob? Can you really step away from this? Can you really do this? He talked about going fishing, which I know he loved, but I think he loved public service a little bit more. He was a one of a kind. He was old school. He's the type of guy you can yell at, curse at, next thing you know, you go get a drink. And I do miss the calls. I would always start, how you doing, Bob? Terrible. I'm mad. When he would answer, I'm actually feeling okay today, that's when I would start to stand up. What's going on? What do I need to know? He will be missed. Those are going to be some very large shoes to fill. But what's going to be harder is the knowledge. It's the knowledge that he brought to the board, that he brought to the town, that he brought to the county. That's going to be the hardest thing. I'm going to miss him. I'm angry that I have to be up here. And I wanted to take a few moments because you're right. Life is short. And there is nothing wrong with the tears. It just makes it a little harder to talk. But I would be remiss if I didn't say to people, not just your life, your legacy isn't the next election, but it's the way the people remember you and what you do for your community. That is legacy. It's not having the school named after you. It is the people who can say, I remember when that town curmudgeon, I mean, he was good at branding, got this done for me, or passed this, or helped me with this issue. That really is the heart of public service. But I also have to say to everyone, make sure you're going to that doctor's appointments. You know, that bourbon, I'm sorry, caught up with him. I really wish he were here. You know, I really wish I had someone to spar with and go through, you know, what's on the next agenda. Ask him, okay, so Bob, what are you going to pull off the consent agenda today? What do you have a complaint about? Because it really wasn't a complaint. It was him looking at things in a different light, in a different way. What I loved about Bob is, again, we didn't see everything eye to eye, but he always had a reason. He always had an explanation. And I love people who can challenge me to see things in a different light. So he will be missed. He will truly be missed. We have an empty seat on the board. It's hard to look at it because the person who sat in that seat really made all the difference. He really made all the difference. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate you. I appreciate the town council. I appreciate everyone who's come out tonight. I don't know if there's an after party at Giuseppe's. That seems almost fitting. I heard there is. This is a tough one. This is truly a tough one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to come up and speak?
Come on, Danica. Thank you for allowing me to speak before Danica.
Danica Ram, 9713 Henderson Place, Manassas Park. First thought as I stand up at this podium and I look at that photo is, oh God, what do you want? That was how Bob said hi. That was his greeting of welcome. It's nice to see you too.
Yep.
How many times in the last 8 years I've been doing this, almost every time I gave my in-person, either before session or after session breakdown to council, whether Bob was on the dais or if he was just in the public, he'd be sitting in the back there, and I would have to say to the mayor, to council, Mr. Sunshine, and I just wanted to bug him so bad. Where to even begin? Well, I'll start with the beginning of how I got to know Bob. And this is the Bob Weir that a few of us got to see, those of us who were the old timers. When I was a news reporter covering town council, my first year when I was, my impressionable 22-year-old self back in 2007. And here was Jen, who was, clerk at the time. Rebecca was on planning commission, I think, even back then. And there's Bob sitting around in that corner. Ozzy Vasquez was sitting over there. They got into it over whatever it was that day. And Ozzy stands up and points at Bob and he goes, "That's obstruction." Bob stands up and goes, "Obstruction, my beep." So that's how I got to know Bob. And I'm going to share with you, how did he get the name curmudgeon? What happened? Where did all that come from? Guilty. Put on the front page of my paper on one of the occasions that he was running for office, where I led the story with, he drinks, he smokes, he cusses, he's a cantankerous curmudgeon from Haymarket who probably knows more about land use policy than anyone else in Prince William County, to which I believe he responded was, "That's right," said Weir. On another occasion, I'll pull this up. Let's just say one time he had a short-lived run for county chair. Madam Chair, you were fortunate you didn't have to experience this. But one time he was briefly involved in a primary for chair, and I won't name names or any of the rest. I will simply quote that Bob gave me for the newspaper for this one. I drink, I smoke, I curse. He drinks, he curses. What's the difference except that I don't kiss babies and I don't cut ribbons, said Weir. No, but wait, there's more. So when Bob was here, there was a big development proposal for this very building that we're in right now. And you'll notice that this building, aside from the paint and face change that's had here, is pretty much similar. Bob was the member of council who voted against it and who absolutely went haywire over it too. And here's a great quote. Bob, riddle me this. It's been more than 2 years since that plan was approved, and where does it stand? Said Weir. I don't see it. I see 3 buildings that are in greater danger of collapsing now than they were 2 years ago. And at which point, Weir chastises the town for overspending and spending priorities. Last one from the papers. This is from when Bob decided to go in front of the court building to challenge someone face-to-face to a primary. Again, this was short-lived. Weir took his place in line, and when it was his turn, he came to, and expressed his disgust with the board. And by the way, my former boss is the one who wrote this one. Leadership and public policy start at the top, he said, singling out a member of the board as he announced his intention to challenge that person for the nomination next year. Pick your poison, convention or primary, doesn't matter to me, he said. After his 3-minute diatribe, Weir finished off with, Merry Christmas, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to at least break the ice with some fun parts with Bob because there was never a dull day with Bob Weir in the 18 years and 4+ months that I knew him. Ever. And at the same time, I'm going to leave you with the things that he would have wanted, the things that I learned from him as a reporter, the things I learned from him as a person, and then lastly, I want to leave you with the things I learned from him as an elected official. As a reporter, I learned as much from Bob sitting in these chairs right here, watching him over there, as I did right outside that door with him having a Marlboro Gold cigarette right around the corner on the left side. And then at which point he would either explain and give you a quote about what it was that you just saw and lay it out in full granular detail with no notes other than the puff of smoke in front of his face. Second thing that he would do, as he would kind of give you this information, is he would tell you exactly who was wrong, why they were wrong, and what he would do different. And that's a really, really important part. It's one thing to get labeled as someone who just says no. It means a lot to say what the alternative is. Bob had an alternative. He would explain to you in granular detail why he was that hard no. And then he would tell you on top of this, this is what we need to do to fix it. He held the line on everything from the meals tax in this city or in this town. And I'll tell you, when that meals tax vote came up and I was covering that, you know what he said at the time? He told me one thing that was so valuable. I learned it from in public life because of this. Bob taught me in this when he said, whenever a governing body gets a new dedicated revenue stream, it's next to impossible to get rid of it. At the time, it was to be used for the streetscape project. And when that expired, people still found reasons for it, right? He warned people way ahead of time, don't get attached to this thing. That was something I learned very, very, very early on as a reporter that has very much stuck with me to this day. And so that's the thing I think we should all think about, which is what is the long-term consequences beyond the vote we take today? What will this mean 4, 5, 6, 10 years from now? What will this mean in a generation from now? That's the next part. Now, away from the dais, did you know Bob Weir actually got my band's first album copyrighted? Yep. Turns out the guy who, worked in trade law and trademark, industry and everything might have noticed something about that. And so when I told him that I recorded first thing, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do for it. He actually took the initiative and taught my 20-something year old self, and that's the nice way I'll put it, about here's how to do it. And to this day, I still have the little piece of paper that, where he did that favor. Second, I made the worst financial decision of my entire life because of you, Bob. And that financial decision was because I've learned from Bob, because of Bob being Bob, that he could fix up a few $100 car and make it run and run and run and run for years. Only problem is if you buy a 1988 Ford Econolodge church van in Southeast DC, it might not even make it to the first spur of 295 and 695 before you try to get out of town. And then once you get it going again, it might just break down in the middle of a 5-lane highway on 395 during rush hour, at which point VDOT will have to come behind you and ram your brand new old van off the road. Why? Because you bought it for $1,000 and Bob Weir told you you could fix things up for $1,000. So for $2,000, you'll have a church van that's turned into a tour van for your band. Great idea. Thanks, Bob. Mistakes were made. By the way, addendum to that story is it sat at my mechanic's garage for 6 months because they could never find the part for it until someone came by with a tow truck one day, swiped it, took it away. They had fortunately taken the license plates off ahead of time. And when I went to the DMV to go turn in those and surrender the plates, they said, "Oh, well, so what happened?" I said, "Oh, someone stole my van." And they go, "Oh, do you want to file a police report?" I said, "Police report? I want to file a thank you note." That's what they told me earlier. Now, other thing, personal life. When I rented my first apartment, I had a pied-à-terre in Arlandria because I had 2 jobs. And so I needed a place near both jobs. So I had my mom's place in Prince William and at that place and over in Arlandria when I was working over at the Watergate. And Bob told me, never get an apartment on the first entry level because that's how people will break into your house. So I had a place that was like 8 feet elevated off the ground. And to this day, I now live in an elevated spot. Thank you, Bob. That was actually a good move. Finally, in public service and everything, Bob and I were different parties, different ideologies, different hairstyles. Where else to begin? Where else to go? I spent more time calling home, talking to Bob Weir in my 8 years in the General Assembly, more than I talked to most of the other people in my life. Most of the people in my life, which includes most family, 1 or 2 exceptions. I talked to Bob. This is right now, and I know there's a number of people in this room who feel this way. Right now is the longest I've gone without talking to Bob Weir in 9 years. And the worst day that's going to come, it's not going to be when I'm sitting there and 6:30 in the morning, I look at my phone. I'm like, thank God it's not ringing because Bob's not calling today from 66 being pissed off at the HOT lanes. It's not that. It's not going to be because he had 2 tires blown out on the left lane and he wanted to scream at me. So I would scream at someone from VDOT to go fix it. I did. You're welcome, Bob. It's going to be come January when things aren't going right, something's gone wrong. And I want to just call home and I want to just scream at someone. Scream with someone and who I know is going to do the exact same thing and say, "Oh, well, you all know what I'm going through. You won't believe this." And now, knowing that the cavalry is not going to come and knowing that he's not going to show up in my office, tease my staff, give whatever smart ass remark to me. And then he's going to go talk to the R's. I'm going to talk to the D's and we're going to get this thing over the finish line. We're going to find 12 votes in committee. We're going to find 51 and 21. We're going to get this thing out. I'm not going to have that anymore. But in not having that anymore, I also realized that for myself and for all of you who have spent time serving with Bob, knowing Bob, and having learned from Bob, he already laid out the roadmap. He already showed us what to do. Be honest to a fault. Take initiative. Put yourself into anything that will have you. And God knows he put himself into all the things. And even though he was UVA to his core, he lived by that VMI code. Do not lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate anyone who does. That was Bob to his absolute core. And then when you have the chance, when you have the down moment, do something to help the vets over up the street, over at Willing Warriors. If you want to know today an action item that you could take in honor of Bob, donate to them, volunteer for them, do something like that. That would have meant more to Bob than the name of a year. Although I will be there April 13th. I promise you that part. I do really, really like that idea. And finally, I don't think the people of Haymarket, I don't think the people of Prince William County really will truly understand what they've lost until there's a day where there wasn't an argument because something went over everyone's head. And it was the sort of thing that only Bob would have caught. It's up to each of us to figure out who we are in our side, not to be Bob, let Bob be Bob. It's for us to learn from him and have that best example of what am I missing? And from this dais, by the way, I'm tasking you, Joe, with this. You're the longest serving member of this body, and Bob would have believed in you to do it. And so every time, every budget, every time, just, you don't have to ask yourself, what would Bob do? But am I missing something? Ask yourself if I'm missing something. And chances are, if you think about it, he'll help you find it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. So I'm Vic Angry, Princeton Supervisor, Board of County Neabsco District. First of all, thank you all for inviting us to be a part of this day. I've heard a lot, and there's literally, like you said, about 10,000 stories we could share. But in the interest of your time, I'm gonna just hit on my observation of Bob Ware and our relationship as it pertains to he and I knowing each other or learning each other on the Board of County Supervisors. So first of all, I'm a retired 23-year Army veteran, Command Sergeant Major, have led soldiers at every level. And there's one common denominator with all of that, and it's attention to detail. And let me tell you something, Bob was attention to detail. For a man who never served in the military, I would swear to God, he was a Command Sergeant Major, because everything he did was attention. And I don't know how he did this, because if you can be at Giuseppe's and you can be all these other places fixing doors and cars, how are you reading 800-page documents? I mean, and literally red ink in it. Like, I don't know how he found that time, but I was very impressed with his attention to detail and how he was able to do things. I'm just sharing some facial expressions that I had I had the opportunity of witnessing with Bob. One was his son graduating from the police academy. I sat right next to him, and you talk about a proud dad. As tough and as cool as Bob is, I saw it, because I wanted him to be the speaker at that graduation. But he just sat back and soaked it all in, and that was a moment. And I really enjoyed watching that, just to sit there and witness Bob in a more relaxed, kind of proud parent moment, which was very thrilling for me. The other time was me and my colleague over here, Supervisor Franklin. We were at an event at Heritage Hunt, and so we asked, hey, where's Giuseppe? And they said, it's right down the street. So of course we crashed Giuseppe's, and there's Bob sitting at the bar. And we sat there for, I don't know, a couple of hours, having a good conversation. We met everybody in the bar, and of course they knew who we were. So that went very well, just to kind of sit there and talk to him. I'm gonna say this last thing. With Bob, I feel slighted because Bob was teaching me things and I was teaching Bob things. And I'm just, I feel upset about the fact, I feel angry, because that's my name, but that he still should be here, And all of that for me is really what I've learned. I had to go and take a real deep dive at myself, sit down and self-process the fact that the only thing we can do best for ourselves is monitor our health, And, colonoscopies are very important. I got one set up for September 22nd. And I would tell each and every one of you in this room, take care of your health, because I would enjoy another 10 years of sitting next to Bob, on the dais with Bob, figuring things out, even if we did not agree. But I missed that, and I feel I've been slighted for that. And I hope that we all can take this and just really deep dive in ourselves and take care of ourselves so that we can continue doing this work that we're so passionate about. So again, thank you for allowing us to be here.
Thank
All right.
you. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to come and speak?
Good evening, members of the council, visitors, distinguished guests, and the Weir family. My name is Rick Berry. I've been a resident of the western Prince William part of the county since 1983. I had the privilege of working with Bob the last couple years of my 8-year stint on the Prince William County Planning Commission. That ended in 2024, December. In January of 2025, I had the privilege of working with Bob as his appointee to the Parks and Rec Commission, which I'm currently on. He was never at a loss to explain the law, policies, procedures, or protocol for good governance. He could be difficult, but always with the goal of making the county a better place. I knew him to be approachable, wickedly smart, a good listener, thoughtful, fair, and having a soft heart. He worked hard at addressing citizens' concerns and concerns regardless of He worked hard at addressing citizens' concerns and questions, regardless of the issue. He always made time for citizens and developers as well. He leaves us with a legacy of leadership, service, commitment, dedication, and exhortations about proper county governance. Going forward, we ask, what would Bob do? I know what he would do. He would do what is right for the citizens of Prince William County and the county as a whole. Thank you for this opportunity to share a few thoughts with you all tonight.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to come up?
Come on, Elena.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Does it move at all? There we go. So my name's Elena Schlossberg. I don't remember when I first met Bob. It was probably Greater South Market, which many of you probably don't remember. That was back in 2003. So in Judaism, what we say is, may his memory be a blessing. And what we mean by that is that we remember people through how they impacted our lives. We remember people through the selfless things that they did. And I'm going to tell you a story about Bob. So my husband travels a lot, and Bob and I did talk a lot. My first conversation of the day was usually Bob, even before my husband, which did not go unnoticed. And my husband was away, and I go to take my dog out the front door, and I see something. I see something underneath a hosta. And I'm like, is that a copperhead at my front door? And so I take a picture, and indeed, it's a copperhead. And I panic. And of course, I call the guy who's supposed to come save you from these things, which is this guy, Bill Crisp, and he can't come. So who do I call? Ring, ring. Yes. I said, Bob. Yes. I was like, you have to come save me. You have to come get the snake. It's a copperhead at my front door. I can't leave. I'm going to move out of my house, okay? My husband's going to come home and there's going to be nobody here. So he's like, okay. He's like, look, I'm all the way in Arlington. I'm on my way. I don't think Bob knew what he was going to do when he got to my house, but he was going to save me and my dog. And needless to say, by the time Bob was probably 10 minutes from my house, the snake had slithered away. And Bob did not have to come save me. Yes, Bob could be tough. He was a jelly bean. Hard exterior, but soft interior. I don't think that you all realize that April 13th is the day that Kim Hosen passed away. And Bob and Kim were very close. And there are two people in this county that knew everything about everything. And that was Bob and Kim. I don't think anybody in this county truly understands the loss we have suffered with both Kim and now Bob. In fact, Kim was dying. She had cancer. And I called up Bob one day and I said, Bob, yes. I said, Kim is feeling disconnected. She can't leave her home. She can't go to meetings. I said, can you just check in on her and just chat? Keep her filled in on stuff. Because Kim, may her memory be a blessing, did so much for this community as well. And Bob said, of course. And what I didn't realize is that he probably checked in every week from that point forward. And when Kim died, he said, Elena, what are we going to do? What are we going to do without Kim? And I said, Bob, we're going to do what Kim taught us. We're going to continue to do the hard work. And you're just going to have to pick the slack up. And I'm going to have to pick the slack up. And we're going to make it through this because there is simply no choice. There is no giving up when there's hard work to be done. And there is a part of me that doesn't really know, sorry, how we move forward without Bob. But as Senator Rome said, Bob taught us well. And we must continue that hard work. And Chair Jefferson, what you said was so true. It is not about that next thing. We're going to be gone one day. I'll never forget my best friend's dad, senior year, because we always skipped first grade. If you've heard this story before, you're going to have to suffer through it again. And he would say, girls, because we would skip first period and go get McDonald's.
Yeah.
And of course, if we would fly, he would buy. And he said, never forget these words. You will never see a hearse with a U-Haul. And that is how we must live our lives. And that is how Bob lived his life. And it is not good enough to just remember the good things Bob did. We have to take that legacy and that hard work into our hearts. And we have work to do. And I want to thank the town of Haymarket, even though you didn't know you did it. You have linked Bob and Kim together. And that is a lesson for us all. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. George Stewart, 15532 Mellon Court, not in Haymarket. And I learned that from when I first met Bob at Battlefield High School. And there was a meeting about the rural crescent. And my wife and I had not lived here that long. And I said, I'm going to go to an HOA meeting tonight, and then I'm going to pop over to Battlefield and hear about this thing. It sounded so beautiful, the rural crescent. And Bob talked to me outside because he had a lot of knowledge. I was like, wow, this guy, this guy's sharp. And then he told me about this place. He told me about this council. And he was like, oh, you got to come to a meeting and check it out. Like maybe you can kind of get involved in the town. Then when I got here and, talked to the chief and, oh, you don't actually live in Haymarket. You live over there. In all right. I did not know Bob that well. I know, so on Haymarket Day last year, he helped me set up the Democratic tent. All right. He was in his golf cart and he was looking at me, and I could tell he was staring at me like, look at this guy, he's struggling. Look at him. I'm gonna give him an extra 5 minutes and then let him off the hook, which he did, and I was like, oh, don't let them see you there, and he's like, bleep them. Use your imagination. Observing Bob for almost a year on the Board of County Supervisors, one thing that always impressed me when somebody mentioned this guy knew everything about everything. He knew the babysitter of the guy that chopped down the tree that the stuff was printed on. I was like, wow, this guy, but then everyone's like, oh, you gotta find him, you gotta find him at Giuseppe's, you gotta find him at Giuseppe's. And I always pictured him at Giuseppe's sitting at the end, going, because yes, there's only 24 hours in a day, right? And nobody can replace Bob. However, if we find our own best level the way he did and operate there continuously at that best level, we can continue making this place as special as Bob always saw it as. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
My name is Karen Sheehan, and my husband and I and our family have lived in Haymarket, not the town, but a Haymarket address for almost 30 years. I didn't have the honor of knowing Bob until the winter of 2014, when a flyer was dropped off on my mailbox about a transmission line coming through the town of Haymarket. And from that point forward, Elena and Bob and I were a trio fighting for what we all cherish and what's important in the town of Haymarket and the county of Prince William. What I found from Bob is that he was always exploring another avenue. He was eternally curious, eternally curious. And I will never forget that about him. He never gave up. He never gave up. And he was a realist, but he was also someone who demanded that we look at more. And I will always cherish that time, the times that we drove down and met in Richmond, addressing the issues at the State Corporation Commission. I wasn't able to witness him a whole lot here at the dais, but the times that I did were always entertaining and always full of information. After he was elected for the Gainesville supervisor, over at Giuseppe's, I put my hand on his shoulder and he turned to me and he said, Karen, this is a mandate. This is a mandate. And he never looked back from that. And he stood true to that from that moment on. One of the things that I also enjoyed about Bob is that he made it a point just to not want any donations from data centers or developers. And he loved telling me, well, I just took that check from so-and-so and wrote it off to this charity. And I wrote this check off to that charity. And he would do that with absolute glee. When I drive through Haymarket now, it feels empty. It's just sad to know that he's not here. But the biggest thing that Bob is and was and will always be, he will be an example of trust. Of all of the supervisors, of all of the councilmen, I always knew that one man I could trust. Always could trust. And I look at all of our organizations, all of our government entities, and I don't find that level of trust in, and I want that again. And I would just ask that people in positions of authority step up and earn the trust of the people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Jerome Gonzalez, Hunting Path Road, here in the town of Haymarket. I also serve as the current chair of the Planning Commission right now, and I'm well aware of the situation. Right now, it's going to be a tough loss without having Bob Weir here. My condolences, of course, to the Weir family, and look at the turnout we have here tonight. Really, the who's who of Western Prince William here tonight, and so it's tough. It's tough news. It's going to be tough going forward. I can't think of another local official anywhere I've lived, anywhere I've been, as someone like Bob Weir. Really a local official who was always fighting for you. I mean, we remember his words from the dais. It really made for entertainment, really, prime time entertainment. But you also knew you were going to get a good argument, a good debate point. Just the positives and negatives, and maybe even as the opponent was saying too. You knew it was going to be very entertaining and it was going to have a lot of good information to reflect on and ponder on. So he could reflect for us from the town council, from the Board of County Supervisors, wherever he was, you knew he was going to speak on your behalf. And certainly I'm aware with his serving as my predecessor as chair of the Planning Commission, I'll always be grateful for his example of service and his fierce commitment to our town and this portion of our county. And as I've said before, who could forget any of the words in the dais, whether this dais or the dais up there? It's going to be very tough. And as Councilwoman Ramirez mentioned, I do recall my family and I, we moved here only in 2019 to the town, and we immediately got to know who Bob Weir was very quickly. And I was very appreciative of how with that first event, with having the for the kind of the government open house. There was Bob Weir reading, and there were my children there listening. It's part of a legacy there, right? I think however many more years I'm given, that's something I'm going to cherish with how Bob Weir was as a local official and those kind of things. And apart from thinking of these kind of roles on the dais, there's another personal story I'd be happy to share here. I call it almost a regular interaction, if you will. With Bob Weir. It's sort of what we've heard a little bit tonight so far. That comes on election days. Now, I have a habit. I like to, since I've lived here, and as we know in Virginia, there's always an election every year. of importance. And I would wake up early in the morning, right about 6 in the morning or so, and take a jog over to Tyler Elementary, which there was a possibility to get there by jogging in safety. There's a way to do it. And the one person I would always see there, getting to Tyler Elementary just as the sun was rising, especially recently, was Bob Weir. I mean, there were other folks trickling in and out voting, but Bob Weir was there, and that was always a constant. He was there and he was ready to go. 6:30 in the morning. I recall that I once showed up there and I spoke to him briefly, as I would generally do on election day, and he said, "Well, now, don't get too carried away yet. We still have an election to go through, and we need to make sure it's done correctly as it can be." So I really appreciate seeing him year in and year out in those conversations as well. I'm going to miss that annual occurrence. I'll remember his dedicated service to the town, even at the crack of dawn. But it's going to be tough when this next election day rolls around. I'll get there early in the morning. I'll jog as I plan to do. But I know Bob Weir won't be there, and that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. But I'm very appreciative of all that he's done. And again, as that local official, I'll always remember that. I'll carry that with me, saying this is how to be a local official and serve your community. And I'm very thankful in those moments where he and I could speak and it seemed as no one else was around. That's my memory with Bob. That's my direct interaction with him. The best one, the one that I'll remember the most. So I'm just being there, just being present, saying, don't get too carried away. Still have a lot of work to do. That'd be good for us all. So thank you.
Thank you.
Patrick Harders. I live in Manassas, Virginia. So many of the same accolades keep being repeated. Who Bob was. Bob was the most intelligent person when it came to anything with land use, with governments, with understanding people. Bob was our go-to. Bob was the guy that you would talk to and he'd have insight in everything. His depth of knowledge was amazing. And Bob was somebody that didn't seek the spotlight. So when Bob came to my house and we had 200 people over for a barbecue competition, he sat down in a chair next to me and we didn't talk to anybody else. And he was happy doing that. I go, "Do you want to go mingle?" He's like, "Nope." He was always like that. And that's unusual. Most politicians, you get them in a group and that's all they want to do is go mingle. And that was not Bob. Bob didn't have patience for people that didn't have integrity. He would blister them. He was rough on them. And I loved that. I loved how he did that. I think I was talking with Elena today about public servants and how we've lost that so much in our country, how we've lost the person that goes and sacrifices where their career is, what's going on for public service. And you talk to Bob and you say, "Hey, Bob, you going to run again?" And he's like, "I want to move to South Carolina. I want to move to Tennessee. I want to get out of here." Every time you talk to him, it was, "I want to leave. I want to get out of here." But he did love serving people. He had a compassion that was, it wasn't seen right away, but he just took care of people. He listened to people. I think the greatest part of Bob's legacy is what we see here tonight. Bob brought people together, and that's surprising. When he was running for board, he's the no man. He's the one that's gruff and mean and challenges everybody, and he's going to cause so much division. And it was the opposite, because he stood with integrity. Everyone knew where he stood. He stood with compassion. He took care of people. And so there was that bringing people together. We've seen Democrats, independents, Republicans. If you look at our country the last 10 years, I was talking to someone today that I feel like we've been in a wild ride for 10 years of so much division. Our state's been divided. Our local government has been so divided prior to Bob coming in. And I joke around with Elena that there'll probably be a book or movie written about this time of Prince William County because it's been so wild. And the most unlikely source, Bob Weir, coming in, who doesn't seem like your 6'3", tall, dark, and handsome politician, but he was a gruff, short, wonderful man, but not who you would expect to be the one that's going to unify people. And I truly believe that he has set an example for all of us on how the governance of Prince William County can work together, how the people can work together, how Gainesville was different, that so much of Gainesville came together around Bob. And so it's a sad day, and I think everybody here just wishes Bob was here. And that's the hardest thing, is him not being here. And so, so appreciative of his example. He didn't tell you what you wanted to hear. He told you what he believed, and we respected him for it. So I'm going to miss Bob as a friend, as a mentor, as somebody that, I could sit down and meet. If someone asked me, do you go to the office a lot? I'm like, why would I go to the office when I could talk to him at Giuseppe's and have a beer with him there? And so having that man in my life meant a lot. And I truly is a big loss.
Is there anyone else?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, council. My name is Michael Whitlock. I did not know Bob that well. As a Prince William Chamber of Commerce Board of Director, I like to know things about all parts of the county. And I've had a few conversations with Bob. And he was a paper tiger. He was gruff. I'm from Chicago, so I kind of can deal with him a little bit. But I just want to say two things. One thing was when we ended our conversations, I would always say, Bob, I would agree with you, but then we would both be wrong. And then I ran out of the room, right? But one thing that we have to remember, and this is a Dr. Seuss quote I use all the time, is you never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. And I think we all have to think about that every day. So, Bob, thank you for your service. And thank you, everybody, for your proclamation and dedication to Bob. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Steve Ward, and you have no reason to know me, but my wife is Elizabeth Ward, who was on Soil and Water Conservation District and variously involved in the efforts around data centers. When she ran for office, we got to know more and more people in the area and began to be involved in things like serving at on election day, battlefield, and so on. And over time, as we got to know more and more people, Bob really stood out with public people, character, integrity, courage, things like that. They talk about it, and sometimes you see it, but with Bob, it was so obvious. He's just himself, and he had it all. We moved here about 18 years ago, and I grew up in Virginia. I was born in Virginia. I went to Virginia Tech, which we used to call the University of Virginia. But I moved back here. We moved back here in 2007, and we chose this carefully to be near my family and to be Northern Virginia. But when I would try to describe it to people where I used to work, and I worked in San Francisco for a long time, I worked for Charles Schwab. I don't live in San Francisco anymore, neither does Charles Schwab. They all moved to Texas. But people would say, so where do you live? And I'd say, Haymarket. They go, where is that? I go, well, it's kind of out. And I describe it to them. They go, it sounds like the middle of nowhere. I said, no. It's kind of, well, maybe the edge of nowhere. So as I would describe it to people, I'd say, well, it's the kind of place where you get to know your county supervisor. And so we would look forward to him on election day. The people would come by and visit. Might be someone running for Congress or something, but we always look for Bob. We always want to see Bob. Bob was a character and a friend. And so I'd say, well, Haymarket's the kind of place where you can know your county supervisor. And he came to my house and he was wearing his gun on his hip. And people in San Francisco were like, were you afraid? And I go, no, I never felt safe for my life. So I found out about Bob, I think when everybody did. I was watching the local news and they said there's been a death on the Haymarket, on the county board. And I thought, what? And I couldn't wait. I'm waiting, and it comes back and there's Bob's picture. And I was just in shock. I couldn't imagine that. And the thought that crossed my mind was, I'll never be able to talk to him again. And it's not like we had deep conversations and so on, lots of things, but it just is a character. You And he had that integrity everybody refers to, that you just knew he was like speaking the truth to you and was on your side. And even now, for years, when I would drive through Haymarket, I would just be driving. It was after 5 o'clock. I'd say, I wonder if Bob's at the bar. And I can't stop thinking that. I drive by now. If I drive through, I think, I wonder if, no. But I like to think I'm going to meet him again at a different bar somewhere higher. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to take a few moments?
Mayor, I have a letter from our delegate, Josh Thomas, I'd like to read. This is a letter dated September 2nd, 2025 from Delegate Josh Thomas. Thank you to the Haymarket Town Council for giving me the opportunity to say a few words for our friend Supervisor Bob Weir. Bob was a rarity, a public service in the truest sense of the word, wholly dedicated to serving the people he represented. He was willing to work with anyone to safeguard Gainesville's best interests, regardless of political party. Most of all, Bob was a fighter and a perpetual thorn in a lot of powerful sides. I hope we all carry his tenacious spirit with us as we tackle our town and county's toughest challenges going forward. Bob will be missed. Signed, Josh Thomas.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? So without objection, I would like to take a brief recess.
No objection.
Thank you.
No objection.
From recess, we will move on with the public hearing. Kim, will you read the public notice into the record, please?
Thank you, Mayor.
You had your wife.
The Haymarket Town Council will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Haymarket Town Hall, 15000 Washington Street, Suite 100, and/or at such other times as to which such hearing may be continued to consider amending the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget as summarized below. This amendment will now fund contributions to other government entity line items for fiscal year 2025-2026 by $69,160 using reserve funds the town has been holding to go towards the expenditure. The new overall budget adopted with these increases will be $4,014,103. This hearing is being held in a public facility believed to be accessible to persons with disability. Any person with questions on the accessibilities to this facility should contact the town clerk. The revenues are coming from the revenue, $69,160 amended budget, and the expenditures is coming from contributions to other government entity. The amended budget is $84,160, which is the difference of $69,160.
Thank you. So the floor is open for public comment on the proposed budget amendment. Are there any emails, Kim? Okay, perfect. I'm now going to close the public hearing and move on to the regular meeting, which brings us to citizens' time. I feel like we had citizens' time a little earlier, so. Are there any emails in regards to citizens' time? Thank you. All right, so we'll now consider the consent agenda. We're starting on packet page 3 through page 58. Would anybody like to pull anything off of the consent agenda? Yes, Alexander.
I'd like to pull the police chief report.
Okay. Anybody else?
Maybe. I'd like to pull the finance liaison report, please.
Okay, so we've got the police report and finance liaison report.
And I guess Under encouragement from the town manager, I think the manager's report,
Okay,
Town admin report.
town admin, yes.
perfect. So we have 3 reports being pulled. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Yes, Mayor, I'll make a motion that the Haymarket Town Council adopt consent agenda items A 1 through 4, B 2, 4, and 5, and C 2 through 5.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Start with the police report.
Chief.
Yes, sir.
Looking at page 39, grant money used by quarter, looks like you updated that section, which clarifies things, so I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. That was the way I felt it was probably best to reflect it. But keep in mind that we have to purchase all equipment in the first quarter of that grant, so you won't see another bar in there. That's going to be the total amount of the expenditures for this year. Sorry. So no, I hope that helps give you a better picture of the money spent for wages versus equipment.
It does, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. In terms of I don't know what you call it, the system that you're using to count traffic volume.
Yes, sir.
What is it called?
They're all traffic solutions signage.
Okay.
And so they do a matrix of different types of data collection, and I can separate the data however is needed. I can look at weekly reports, daily reports. I can look at the 85th percentile on speed. I can look at a lot of different aspects of it. This is a generalistic, and obviously if you wanted different data, we can break it down to how you see fit, but that's the systems that we use. Now, 2 of those systems are stationary, permanently mounted, one on the east side of town, one on the west side of town. And then we use the 3rd system as a mobile system. Now we've only collected data right out here on Jefferson, but not any other places with that mobile system yet.
So it sounds like it has a capability to track speed.
It does, yeah, absolutely.
Is
It's-
it possible for you to start including the speed-related data?
Absolutely, I can do. What data would you like to see? Would you like to see
I'm interested in vehicles traveling in excess of 25 miles an hour, right?
Okay.
That's what I'm interested in.
Gotcha. Okay,
Number
we
of
can, yeah,
vehicles.
yeah, we can program it to collect that data in a certain way and distribute it to you. Do please keep in mind though that we're well over 2 weeks into our current reporting period.
Okay.
So what you're going to see, the results that you're going to see are not going to be a full month on the next report.
Okay.
Just so you know. So keep that in mind. Bear that in mind when I'm providing the next report, that you're not seeing the total month's data. All right.
All right. Thanks. That's all.
Mary?
Yes.
I wanted to ask Councilmember Bayane a clarifying question. In regards to speed, are you interested in seeing a pattern in like frequency of speed, like what the average speed is? Or are you interested in like peak speed times? Like what are you looking to have pictured?
What I would like to gain insight into is the number of vehicles that are traveling in excess of 25 miles per hour in comparison to the traffic volume.
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm interested in.
Ratio.
Ratio,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, I appreciate that clarification.
No, thank you. Thank you.
And I'm always going to take an opportunity to shout out to the best police state ever. I do see that you guys are working hard. Like if all of my colleagues are looking at these charts, we can see there's an uptick. 2025 is trending higher than most other years in almost everything. So you guys are working really, really hard. And that development still isn't even fully completed. And we still have some changes in, I don't know, I guess residences still being developed and things like that, properties still looking to be developed. So I want council to really think about the impacts that we're going to see on our police department, and remember that reactive policing, going call to call, is not the goal, I think, in having our police department. I think community policing, being proactive, is the best case scenario. So thank you, and thank your department for working so hard for us.
Yes, ma'am. Guys are doing a great job.
Anyone else in regards to the police report? No? All right. Mary, in regards to the liaison?
Yes.
Financial.
Thank you, Mayor. If we could turn to page 52, I noticed a notation in the discussion notes, which are amazing, by the way. I really love how this is structured, so thank you guys. I saw on page 52, item 14, it said food pantry assistance, and then something about a related food drive. I was wondering if maybe the finance liaisons or and/or staff would like to join in and maybe make it a community outreach effort. Or I did see that Haymarket Church on October 5th is doing a food drive, so maybe if we want to partner with that. I really love the idea, and I was wondering if you guys had any thoughts that you had discussed beyond that.
Emily?
Yes, this is my agenda, my note, and I will take credit for this. So we had originally started discussing if there was an opportunity for the town and the council to get together and do any type of food pantry assistance. That is something that we have done in the past, and we did during the COVID time when there was a significant need. This past summer, I was made aware of significant needs. And I was also made aware that it's very important for us in the community to remember the need is not just October, November, December, but it is year round. And so I had brought it up just simply with the finance liaisons that this could be something we kind of keep in our back pocket if the town is looking in any way to make a type of donation. Again, as we had done previously, I do think that we should reach out to some of the nonprofits that help with food insecurity in our community and make sure we're inviting them out to our events and inviting them to speak on and share the need in the community for donations, whether that looks like perishable or shelf-stable food donations, or if that looks like monetary donations. I do know that some of our food banks do accept monetary donations where they're able to go out and purchase what is needed, and they do try to keep a certain stock on hand. So with all that being said, certainly kind of leaving that up to the council for discussion of what that looks like, but those were just ideas that we had tossed out.
I really love those ideas. I do know that you and I at one point had talked about maybe doing a volunteer team of staff and council going and serving at a nonprofit. If there is an organization that council feels that we should maybe try that out with, or I really do love the food pantry because I think food instability is very prevalent, unfortunately. So
Yes, and kind of to touch, yes, we have spoken in the past about getting council linked up and doing some volunteer service hours and giving back to the community. I will say that on a staff basis, I wish we're doing more, but I have to say Alexandra does the most. She volunteers a lot at Boxes of Basics, and I'm sure she would happily lead us if that's something we wanted to start with, because she's a pro at it. So she's always helping out and being kind of our number one volunteer. So big applause to Alexandra there. But maybe that's something we could work with her, and we could start with that type of organization, and then we can look and investigate some additional ones to include Haymarket Food Pantry.
just out of curiosity, has Haymarket Food Pantry been invited to maybe have a table at the farmer's market or at Haymarket Day or at any of our events yet?
I don't believe that we've reached out and invited them to do it and waive the fee, but we certainly could reach out to them and encourage them to come.
Okay. I don't know if council would be open to the fee situation for nonprofits, or what the policy is on that. I'm not sure.
Always join me the first Sunday.
What I would encourage from a staff point of view is invite them to come out and join Mayor first Sundays at the farmer's market and share the word there. I would also encourage us to get their information, put it in the newsletter, put out a call. We can save a little nonprofit corner, and we can start advertising for different nonprofits and just cycle that. Kim does a great job working with everybody and inviting them into our council meetings. I do believe she's working with Sarah Tyndall with Boxes of Basics to have her come back in October. We keep the lobby open at the police department for drop-off points. So we have done a lot with some of the organizations. Certainly we can do more and add more.
Perfect. And then if nobody has anything to add to that conversation, I just have one more question. Page 54, I saw item number 2, spending/procurement policy amendment. Could you possibly, either staff or the finance liaisons, articulate what the current procurement policy is and what the amendment might be entailing?
Do you want me to take that?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I can just
You
say
can
a few
add.
things about it and then you can elucidate. So we had a little conversation at our last meeting, I think it was. And we're thinking about bringing the council, once we have a chance to really dig into it, possibly increasing the limits on spending. Also, because we haven't had a change in that spending limit since 2014. So we'll have that kind of debate, whether in fact it makes sense to do from a financial management perspective. The other thing we were talking about is sole sourcing, which would give the town manager some flexibility and the chief as well, in awarding some contracts that may not have that competitiveness out there. And that kind of slows us down in getting stuff done. So those are the types of things. As a matter of fact, I think in my report, I said we would be talking about that at our next meeting on the 10th of September. Right?
Yes, that's
And we were
correct.
going to kind of flesh it out a little bit more and talk some more about it and see if it's ready for prime time or not.
Yeah.
So that's essentially it, right? If I remember
Yes,
it.
and as for the agenda's sake of it, I apologize. These are my notes during the meeting, so sometimes they're brief, couple line notes to kind of jog later. But yeah, Joe hit exactly on it. Just the most recent example of what we're running into is when we're looking at possibly adding the generator for this building and doing that project in partnership with Prince William County Fire and Rescue to make Town Hall an option for a comfort station during any type of disaster relief. We are running up to, based on our current spending policies, I would not be able to go out and sole source it from a Sourcewell, which is a company that gathers pre-approved bids and contracts. So I would instead have to go out and get multiple bids on it. And so that was quite a big undertaking to think through that process, in the sense of we would have to get the same scope of work and then go to 3 contractors and make sure they're all bidding on the exact same generator and same process. Whereas the county highly recommended that we look into Sourcewell, and they had a pre-approved contractor through that system that has done the work and installed generators for them, and they recommended. And so it would be streamlining some of that process. That would not be for all things. Again, it's just certain unique cases where getting those competitive bids is not always the most beneficial use of our time. So it would still all be reported back to council. It would still be updated when it comes to any of those expenditures, but it is looking at trying to streamline some of our purchasing.
Awesome. I appreciate the clarity. Thank you.
Anything else on that subject? No? All right, so then we'll go to the manager's report.
I had 2 very quick updates that I promised I would get back to you guys on last week. So last Tuesday, I held our first site visit walkthrough with JMT, the consultant, regarding the stormwater grant funding that we're receiving. So we did a nice 3.5-hour tour around Fayette Street, South and North, where we had our first 2 focus areas. And then we also went over to Robinson's Paradise. We were in luck. We were able to actually meet with each of the 3 homeowners who experienced flooding on site. They were able to talk through it again with myself and Thomas, as well as our consultant who was there. And we also had a representative from Prince William County. So great kickoff meeting, very beneficial. We'll be following up. There's a couple additional documents we're trying to get over to them. And then they're going to be scheduling a second site visit where they're actually going to be coming out and doing surveying all along Fayette Street, north and south, as well as across the bridge in the Robinson Paradise community. And we may be hitting on some other points along Washington Street as well. So I'll keep everybody up to date on when that's going to go out. Are there any questions on the stormwater meeting? Yes, Mayor?
Do you know when the second site visit's going to be roughly?
I don't have that date yet. We were going back to the drawing board of when their surveyor could come out. So
Okay.
we'll get that all together. And then we're going to try to get with them to get letters out if we're having to go on anybody's property, just to give them as much heads up as we can. And then I might see, I haven't mentioned this to Chief yet, I might see if I can team up with him or one of the officers to help when we're not here after hours, to help deliver some letters, just so we can get as much notice to these residents and really try to make that face-to-face contact so they can call us if they have any questions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
The next quick update I have is on Friday, I had a meeting with the county CXO and the other town managers. We had a great meeting, very well attended. They actually brought in a lot of the department heads throughout Prince William County, so it was very educational. We talked with each of the departments. I will say some information that I brought up that was of concern from the town, to include everything you guys sent me to talk about. But I spoke specifically to events and how we can partner with fire and rescue for the best facilitation of a safe Haymarket Day, along with our other events, but a safe Haymarket Day for everybody. I specifically asked if we could partner with fire and rescue to have a first aid station here. This was out of a conversation that I had with our police department regarding how often they were called in last year, and that it would just be a great benefit for everybody, that themselves as well as us, to have a location on site where they're manning. I will be following up with the chief regarding that, chief of fire and rescue down at the county. I also, so that it is not a surprise to anybody, mentioned to them, they were concerned about, well, if we do this for everybody in all of their events. And I said, I completely understand. And we're also willing to financially offset it with our event money. So we do have funds, and this can be something we offset, just like we do with our police department and the importance of bringing in the police. So again, something we're talking about. Going down the line, we heard from the Prince William County Print Shop. So they offer amazing sources to do all of the printed materials, right down to making tablecloths such as this one, notepads, banners, brochures, newsletters. So I am working with Julia to get a meeting with the print shop. They're going to come out and we're going to talk about all of our needs. And it is a possibility that they could start printing our newsletters for us and helping us with that process. We would pay cost for all the materials, but it is a service that they're really trying to help get out there to the other jurisdictions and let them know that they offer it. So that was very exciting to hear that they have those resources and can assist us. Talked with transportation. They gave us an update. They're in the final design plans and working on just south of the railroad tracks, that grant for that connection from Somerset Crossing up. So again, that's a grant that will take a little bit longer. Over here on the north side of Jefferson Street, the connector into the county, they're in I believe it's the final phases of the procurement of the land. I did mention to them that unfortunately with the passing of Bob, some of our information just is not as easily accessible. So they have promised they'll get with us and they'll provide better updates, specifically coming out of Transportation's office. I also asked Mr. Rick Canizales, how do we get information and help on our light? How do we get that help on Jefferson Washington Street? A lot of projects are happening right here around us on the outside of town boundaries. A lot of that traffic is coming in. We understand we can't stop it. We also understand we're not putting up a toll booth, but how do we get help from the county to put resources and materials into our intersection? So they've promised a follow-up conversation on that. Moving along the line, we spoke with Public Works and the Building Department. I'll be following up with heads from the Building Department and the CXO regarding our building permitting process to include the fire marshal review. We're going to talk through how do we be a more proactive, how do we have a more proactive approach when it comes to fire marshal reviews. Right now, they do it as a courtesy before it gets to the building department. And once it gets into the building department is when the fire marshal really sits down with it and gives comments back, at which point sometimes we have had site plans come back to us and need amendment. And so it's kind of creating this lag in the cycle, and we're trying to be business friendly. So have that conversation. I've also requested the fire marshal come out and do inspections of all of town-owned properties. I sent that email list over today of all of our addresses. That's every single building on our town property, as well as the town museum. And that is to ensure that we are doing our best when it comes to safety of our structures and also our tenants in the structures, ensuring that they are acting within regulation. And then lastly, I mentioned to them April 13th, and I will be connecting further with the CXO and the Director of Communications to create a game plan, come up with how the county can get involved. They were very much looking forward to participating. They thought it was a great gesture for us to be doing this and looked forward to how they could really help share the information. So we did all that. We also talked about the police department.
Okay.
And utilizing the training facility. And there was
Dead silence now, Mike.
some confusion in the room because members in the room felt like it had already been completed and over the finish line. However, I have to say, Chief Lynn, Town Manager Lynn over at Occoquan was in the room as well and helped the conversation explain as well from their side of things how it was progressing. They will be going back and looking at minutes and directives off of the supervisor's dais to see what was directed and where it landed. I shared with them information that Chief prepped me with to talk to regarding the addendum and the MOU. So they will be looking in on it and they will be getting back to me. The CXO said he'll get back to me by November at our next quarterly. And I just did a friendly recommendation. If it could be sooner, that would be appreciated. So we'll be following up, but the conversation was had.
May I say something about that?
Sure.
I think that's too long, but
Agree.
I will make a phone call
Okay.
after this meeting and talk to somebody and see if we can accelerate that.
Okay. And Friday's meeting, it was at the CXO meeting, and you can mention that it was brought up by Town of Haymarket and that the town of Occoquan also shared input on their relationship regarding the training facility.
And they understand that it was only a couple sentences, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. This is my shocked face. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions about the report? That's the only updates I have right now.
Okay, are we good? All right, can I get a motion to approve the pooled reports?
Okay, Mayor, I move that the Haymarket Town Council adopt consent agenda items B1, B1 and 3 and C1.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
We didn't vote yet.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, so we will move on to the agenda items. We're starting on packet page 59, the fiscal year 2025-26 budget amendment. Roberto?
Well, good evening, council. It's been a while since I said that, I guess. The budget amendment you see in front of you is due to the fire funds that we receive annually. The reason why you see it, me requesting the monies to be pulled from reserve funds is because that's where we have been holding the funds. This is just doing it the proper way, being transparent as that we, at the time the budget was being worked on, funny enough, something some of the people said here, just looked harder, something I missed. I feel like we missed when we were in discussions with the budget. But we also had not known the full final amount that the fire department had was going to need for this next expenditure. Now that we do, it's over the 1% threshold, so I definitely want to go ahead and get these funds amended, as we have received the invoice officially and started receiving the equipment. So it's the funds are there. It's hopefully to get a vote today to approve it, to move forward with it. But I'm here to answer any questions concerning it.
All right. Any questions? Joe?
No, we discussed this at the finance level and we support it.
Anyone else? All right, so we have a draft motion.
Mayor,
Yes.
would you like to make a motion, Alexander? No, go ahead. Okay.
All right, I move the Haymarket Town Council to approve an amendment to fiscal year 2025-2026 budget as it is designated by resolution number 2025-008.
I second.
All right, Kim, will you set up the voting?
Oh, God, I hope I can. So what I have to do, reset it?
Just refresh it.
Refresh?
Where is our refresh key?
Yeah, I don't know.
May I watch you do it? So when I
Sure.
have to
Oh,
do it.
voting.
Somebody-
Okay, there it is. Voting is not open.
Yeah, voting is not open yet.
Voting is not open.
Be patient, right? Okay.
You want to go first? Why?
I was so good last time.
Do I refresh?
Yeah, hit refresh.
It's working. I'm the first. I got it.
Oh, he beat me.
And submit.
Kim, it's not working.
Refresh the whole.
You reset the yay. There you go.
There we go. I hate this.
I know. I know.
I wish I had a mouse.
It's a touch screen too,
I know.
Is it?
It wasn't. At least I don't have
It's
the.
because the screen moves if you're trying to touch on it. So you get movement on your finger and it thinks you're scrolling or something, It's like,
What's going to be comical is when I have to get on there and do it. That's what's going to be comical.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right.
Wonderful.
you can see on the
Thank you. And I was
screen
going
up
to
there.
say,
Yeah. Not today.
Not today.
all right, so the next item on the agenda is the Town Park Pavilion RFP. Emily?
Thank you, Mayor. So we're on packet page 62. This is the proposed scope of work that I brought to council at our work session last week and requested that you return this evening with any questions, comments, or concerns.
All right, any questions, feedback?
I have just one comment.
Okay.
So we talked a little bit about it in finance as well, and my own personal request was to take a look at how we provide the toilet facilities.
Okay.
Right? Do we want to do something that's a build, or can we do something that's more like a smart toilet? Would that make sense? So just to look at it from a cost benefit perspective as well as the pro and con perspective. And I'm not sure that really needs to be in the RFP, but something that I would very much like us to look at
Mary?
because of a maintenance issue, you know.
Could you clarify what a smart toilet is?
It's a self-contained unit that we would, I guess you would lease it out.
So I don't want to say go home and Google it, but go home and Google it. It is new technology.
Right.
And what they're trying to do is it's a type of facility that they're putting in place, and some of them are modular and more mobile. You can put them in place, and a lot of them are self-cleaning. So everything inside has a feature where there's varying degrees. you set it for a certain time and they'll self-clean that time every single day. It locks, it sprays down the whole thing with a sanitizer, and the floor, everything drains, it's
Like the
cleaning.
things in New York City.
Yes, then you
Okay.
have probably.
Extensive across Europe as well.
Yes, you probably have more of a European model where maybe it's after every user, it does a flush down and clean. But it is very much so, I would say, a European style smart facility. And it could definitely be something that would help us keep our maintenance costs down a little bit when it comes to having personnel to go in and service and clean the facilities. I'm sure to a degree, there is still very much so a requirement to have that. So we have options.
But you were saying that doesn't necessarily have to be stated in the RFP.
I'm not sure,
No.
if it's probably part of the project itself, but I
No.
wanted to raise it here so there's,
And-
people wouldn't be surprised.
And I think when you're looking at
For
the
the requirements analysis.
bottom of page 62, when we're talking about reviewing desired outcomes, future needs of the complex, prepare preliminary design of the improvements to include the architectural designs of the park pavilion and the restrooms, we're going to have a lot of opportunity there to speak on it, so we can flag it to be part of conversations.
It was my effort to think outside the box, if only I could find the box.
I love that thought. That's actually really cool and hygienic. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I definitely think that's worth looking into.
They're cool facilities, I know, but yeah, it is they're very clean.
Yeah.
I will say that.
That's really important.
We don't know what the cost is, though. but
Yes,
You got to
that's-
do a cost benefit and compare.
And when it comes to the restroom, something that has been brought up previously was the conditioning in terms of temperature, right? Are these also,
Yes,
are they conditioned?
yes, and they're
Okay.
monitored remotely,
Okay.
all of that stuff.
I think that's something that you had.
That's why they call it a smart toilet.
Right, anything else?
That was my only
No.
thought.
Are we ready to give direction to proceed?
I think we should get it out on the street.
Yes.
Let's go.
All right,
Awesome.
so you
I
have
will
that.
work with Olan this month and we'll get everything wrapped up and we'll get it out. Thank you.
Go, hold on.
All right, so we're going to move to the outdoor event ordinance fee schedule. Also Emily.
So this is your final clean version of the outdoor event ordinance. And if there are no additional comments or concerns on it, we would like for there to be a directive to authorize the public hearing.
Okay, I'm feeling like you're getting that authorization.
Okay.
No objection.
No objection.
Wonderful. I'll work with Kim and we will get that scheduled for October 6th.
October 6th.
Yeah, October
Good.
6th.
And did you cover that at the, I didn't remember, at the roundtable? Was that mentioned? I don't remember.
It was mentioned and we will share it out. I'll work with Alexandra. She has the business list. So we'll make sure that we get the draft out there as well as information on the public hearing date for them to attend.
Outstanding.
All right, so our last item is Resolution 2025-009, the Prince William County TAP Grant Support.
Yes. I apologize with the hubbub of today. I did not get you a draft resolution to pass through. We need to sign a letter of support for the TAP grant and we need council to be on board with that. I can pull an old one. If you guys want to add to your agenda the mural, I can pull my old TAP grant support and I can change some things around and then we can come back to that in a few minutes if that's acceptable.
That's a good idea.
All right. So,
May-
sorry about
Mayor,
that.
Yes.
May I ask that we amend the agenda with a mural item? Oh, well, I thought it had to be council.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
No objection.
I was
No
just gonna say,
objection, okay.
Does anybody?
Well, if I said I object.
Yeah,
All
but you
right.
gotta use the machine again then.
So we'll open up the discussion again on the mural. We all had a chance to go out, kind of view everything. Additional comments, concerns? Yes, sir.
My only comment is, I think we're moving too quickly for the love sign itself. I think it should strictly be moved forward with the mural, because I think that's appropriate.
So if the proposed idea of having the love sign done, temporarily put up and then taken down, right? And then taken down, but still having it
Yes.
for placement later on, it would include
Right.
that we were having that all done at the same time.
Financially, get it done.
Okay. I just wanted to
positioning and-
clarify.
Yeah.
Okay, how are you feeling?
Personally, I kind of agree. I have no issue with I think the design is beautiful. I think it's
Mhm.
great. I look forward to seeing that developed. I love the idea of having it on Haymarket Day, so no objection to having that sign done and placed where we're thinking about it temporarily, assuming we can have, even from a temporary basis, all of the agreements in place with that that landowner and the tenant. I mean, I haven't had a chance to look at the kind of ordinance in detail. I think there's some places where I say, oh, I think we do need something, and some places I think say, oh, no, I think we don't. So I'm okay with proceeding. I will say, just going out there tonight, all of us on the sidewalk, looking where it was going to be, seeing how narrow that sidewalk is, having the guy come by with the really cute dog, having two people come by on bicycles who had to then steer out into the road, almost into traffic. Ironically, it was my wife who almost hit the person on the bicycle when she was driving by. All right. So, I mean, I really took notice then. I'm really concerned that that's just too narrow a space, that if somebody did want to come and take a selfie with it, which is what a lot of the purpose of those love signs is, that it's the wrong location. I'm good to try it out on a temporary basis, but I have safety concerns about it being there.
Okay, noted. Joe, did you have anything to say?
No, I would concur with that. I kind of felt that way too, especially when the kids were walking. There were like 4 or 5 kids walking, and they walked out into the
street,
into the bike lane. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Okay,
So public
Okay.
safety really is number one.
absolutely. Mary?
I already shared my concern about the perceived favoritism with that location, but I also agree the safety piece. I do think talking with the artists in the space with them, they had an idea of saying like, here's your selfie spot, and it was more like sitting on the wall. And there's creative ways to encourage that as well. Like we could market that, do like promo shoots like that, kind of set the trend. I mean, I think it would be great to have it here on our property, but we are looking to upgrade our parking lot and things like that. So I'm in agreement with the idea of getting the sign done, doing the mural, because the mural is wonderful. I want murals everywhere, honestly, but definitely do the mural, have the love sign temporarily put there, and we can assess as needed, at least, for Haymarket Day. That would be a lovely thing to have. I definitely agree with that. So, yeah.
Alexander?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of both the mural and the love sign. When it comes to the love sign, I am, from a safety perspective and also placing it on a private property, I'm not too sure about that. I have concerns about that. And when it comes to and both of them, I think the mural and also the love sign are going to require an update or change to our ordinance, right? But when it comes to changing our ordinance, I would like to avoid doing it in a way that will basically create an exemption or an exception for the town, right? I just don't like that idea. As I stated earlier, I would like us to abide by our own rules, right? Not make an exception that favors what we want to do or don't want to do, right? Ideally, that's what I would like us to accomplish if we can do that, right? But
All right, so what I'm hearing is we're all on board with moving forward with the mural and the love sign. We are going to hold the love sign on Haymarket Day for that time, and then we're going to decide and work through where we're going to finally place it.
So it goes up in the morning and it comes down at the end of the day.
Or the night before.
Or I was going to say, I would say the night
after.
before and,
For Haymarket
The
Day,
weekend, I think.
yeah.
I would want to put it up sometime Friday just because
Okay.
the morning's very busy, but then we
I
would
was gonna
pull
say, I
it
feel like
back
that's
in.
unrealistic.
No, I would probably actually, it would be a top priority for staff to pull it in Saturday after
Okay.
the end of the
Okay.
event.
Okay.
I do have one more thing on that, though. We have to have background music for it. I mean, you can either do Love Shack or maybe Love is Made for You and Me or something like that. No, never mind. Go ahead.
Yes, Ken.
I think a good suggestion, when this does get debuted, we can get citizen feedback on placement, and we can promote that at the event.
Okay. Not a bad idea.
But if I'm not mistaken, based on, in order to be able to move forward, I think we're going to first have to update or change our ordinance, correct?
I don't think so.
For
No.
sign placement, I think it would be best, but at least we can get the mural started.
And we can have it done. It would just be temporary.
Well,
So it'd be like a sculpture or an art piece.
Well, can Olan?
And he can work
review
in
it?
parallel.
I mean, we have another meeting October 6th before
Mhm.
Haymarket Day, and we could be well informed before that to make a
Mhm.
final decision.
Yeah, I think it can be worked in parallel. Olan's working on things. We're saying, yes, move forward. And
Yes.
then,
I also think as I understand it, for a temporary sign, which is what we'd be putting up, since it's only going to be up for a day or two.
I'm not talking about the love sign, I'm talking about the mural
Oh,
itself.
the mural itself. Okay.
I
sorry.
believe it will require a change to our ordinance, right?
I had a look at the ordinance just really quickly, and I'll do a deeper dive. But as we sit here talking about it, we can have a mural, and it says it's considered to be a painted sign, and it says painted signs cannot exceed 15% of the wall area. So 15% of the wall area. So I'm not, spatially, I'm not sure how much the wall that will cover.
Yeah,
that's covering all of it.
Yeah, that's
100%.
That's covering it all.
Good.
That's what I mean.
Good.
I mean, that's,
Then
yeah.
we shouldn't be,
Yeah.
we should be okay then. Just want to bring that to your attention.
Okay.
But that is the sign ordinance, right?
That's the signed ordinance. That's
That's if we're
correct.
going to consider this a sign. Is there legal definitions of a mural being a sign and always default as a sign?
No, that would
or-
be, what you're describing right now is a mural, which is described in the ordinance as a painted sign. So that would be, 15% limitation would apply there.
Could we not argue that the love sign is actually a sculpture? A piece
That
of
would be,
art?
it would be tough to make that argument, I think. I have to look at the definition of sculpture to see if it would fit.
So.
Hmm.
So if we
The
have to-
timeline on the mural is it's all prepped and then they could have it, it takes 2 weeks to have it completed based on weather. Is that what the timeline that they gave?
Yeah, right.
If we brought a revision for work session,
You'd have to have a public hearing.
Yeah.
before the ordinance. Yeah.
can we, so outside of a special meeting?
We might have it done for the holiday.
Might,
Mhm.
Might have to push it back a little bit. I know.
The love
All of
sign.
it.
Mural. All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's what the ordinance says, then that's.
I'll do a deeper dive and get back to you all about what it
All right.
says.
So pending
Legal review.
legal review, we're all on board with the concept and the idea. It's just the ordinance.
And the design. Let's put that on record.
Oh, with the, we're all in favor of the design and, thank you, Ken.
Oh,
With
Mary's
some-
like, wait a minute.
With some of the minor changes that were mentioned before, but
Yeah.
not having one business kind of specifically named. but-
Just highlighting the building.
Correct.
It kind of reminded of what Bob might say.
Yes.
Them's the rules.
Yeah. Okay. Emily, do you have anything to add? No. Okay.
can you, sorry, I'm working on this resolution. Can you summarize what the final determination there was?
So Olan's going to deep dive into the ordinance because as it stands now, there's a 15% margin.
Limitation.
Yeah.
On walls for murals.
We're on board with the mural
Okay.
mural design, the modifications of the love sign, not to highlight names of businesses, just focusing on the historical aspect. And hopefully we can get something from Olon quickly.
Yes.
So that we can
Otherwise, we have to go through the
public
process.
notice, yeah.
Okay. So we'll be contacting the artists and telling them we're on hold,
For now.
correct?
For now.
Mhm.
For now.
Okay. Sounds good.
You got something you want to pass on?
No, I need about 5 minutes if I can for the resolution,
Okay.
tweaking the final language.
Yep. We'll take a 5-minute recess. We'll be back at 9:30.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so we are back from recess. Emily?
Yes, thank you. So what we're looking at doing is providing a letter of support to Prince William County Board of Supervisors in recognition of the application process that they would be doing for the upcoming TAP grant. That is the Transportation Alternatives Program, and it is administered by VDOT. So I would like to read in the resolution that the county has passed, or a draft resolution that they will be looking at passing on the 9th next week. And then if everybody is in agreement of it, I would like for you all to voice your support, and then I will work to get the letter of support drafted and signed by the mayor and sent down to the county. So authorization of pre-applications for the fiscal year 2029-2030 revenue sharing program and the fiscal year 2027-2028 transportation alternatives program administered by the Virginia Department of Transportation for grant funding. This is a countywide resolution. Whereas the Revenue Sharing Program and Transportation Alternatives Program, TAP, are biennial transportation funding programs administered by the Virginia Department of Transportation. And whereas the fiscal year FY 2027 Revenue Sharing Program provides up to $5 million in funding per fiscal year in FY 2029 and 2030 and dollar-for-dollar matching local funds with a maximum per project of $10 million for construction, rehabilitation, maintenance, or improvement projects on state-maintained roadways. And whereas the TAP provides up to $2,500,000 in federal funding for community projects that improve non-motorized transportation and require a 20% local funding match. And whereas the mandatory pre-application for both programs is open until May 30th, 2025, with final applications due September 15th, 2025. And whereas the county, consistent with the goals of the strategic plan and comprehensive plan, wishes to pursue external funding for county mobility projects. And whereas input on project priorities for TAP was solicited from the Planning Commission and members of the Prince William County Board of County Supervisors, and evaluated based on program eligibility requirements, project readiness, and funding need. And whereas transportation staff recommended submission of pre-applications to TAP for the following projects: Route 29, Elm Farm Road, Old Bridge Road, Forest Park Drive, Old Carolina Road / Jefferson Street, existing termini north of Somerset Crossing to Fayette Street sidewalk project, North Woodbridge pedestrian bridge. Whereas the revenue sharing program gives priority to previously approved projects and projects that meet a state need and/or accelerate a project in the capital improvement program. Therefore, transportation staff have identified 2 projects that meet these priorities and are designated board priority projects and have funding needs that align with the program timeline. Staff recommended the submission of pre-applications to the revenue sharing program for the following projects: Van Buren Road North Extension, Devlin Road widening. Whereas the pre-applications will be reviewed by VDOT staff, and based on feedback received, transportation staff will return to the board to recommend projects and seek authorization for final applications. Now therefore it be resolved that Prince William County Board of Supervisors hereby authorizes the county executive or their designee to submit the applications and to execute all other necessary documents to secure funding through the fiscal year 2029/2030 revenue sharing program and the fiscal year 2027-2028 transportation alternatives program administered by the Virginia Department of Transportation for the projects identified herein by the Department of Transportation staff. So that is for the project that comes from Somerset Crossing, which is located outside of the town south of the railroad tracks. It'll meet up with the shared use path that finishes right there. It'll come down over the wetlands, over the railroad track, and then come up to Fayette Street, where it'll terminate on the north side of Fayette Street. This is Long Jefferson on the north side, where we have a appropriate ramp there. So I'm going to pass the 2 visuals up onto the dais. And again, this is for support of a transportation alternative program funding. And this does require a 20% local funding match. And if everybody's in support of it, we'll draft our letter and then send that over.
I'm assuming the 20% is our onus, not Prince William?
Correct, that's the town of Haymarket.
Okay, there's a lot of numbers in there. So what is the estimated cost, did they say?
Let me pull up that document one second.
And while you're looking that up. So this is a competitive, right? Competitive grant. There's no guarantee that they're going to get this.
The railroad tracks. Right here. Okay, so.
That's correct.
that's
We
my
have
assumption, yeah.
in the past applied for a TAP grant for the Route 15 railroad track,
Right.
and we have not been successful.
Okay. So VDOT's managing it, but it sounds like it's federally funded. So I'm
That's
gonna,
correct.
so do you know what agency, just out of curiosity, it might be? Okay, we
I
can,
do
you can,
not, I apologize.
yeah, well, you can get that to me later. So it sounds like if they get it, we have to come up, you said 20% of whatever that number is on the grant to match it. But we're not going to see this for what, 4 to 5 years, probably.
That's correct.
Okay, so that gives us a little bit of time to figure out how we would pay for it.
Is the 20% of our contribution based on the portion of the project that's in town? Or is it 20% of the entire project?
The entirety.
Ooh, we're going to have to think about that one.
I'm assuming it's 20% of the match of the grant, right? And the grant has a cap of 2 million?
So here's what the numbers are for the projected financial information that they're putting into the grant application. Total cost estimate, $4,827,957.
Is that 4.8 you said?
4.8. 4.83. You can round it up.
Okay,
They are requesting the full 2.5.
2.5. Where's the rest of the money coming from?
The required transportation alternatives match is 625,000.
The 20% match,
Mhm.
625,000.
And based on the final application, it was stated that the cost estimate could change a little bit with the final sketches.
Yeah, of course it will.
And the timeline, oh, sorry.
Over water? You know it's
Timeline
gonna
for the
change.
project?
It sounded like 29.
If it gets awarded, so they're applying, the TAP grant is for 2027, 2028 fiscal year.
Okay.
If it is awarded near 3 to 5 years out,
At least.
once you do engineering and then work through construction and all of that, you're at least 3 to 5 years out.
But before you get there, it's still is it a competitive grant?
Mhm.
So they may not get that grant anyway. I mean, depending on how these other projects match up. I don't know what their criteria for selection is and any of that stuff. So it may or may not happen.
And then if you would educate me on what the result of this project would be.
It would provide final connectivity on the south side of town into Prince William County's transportation network when it comes to their shared use paths.
I'm really excited to hear that this is even an opportunity for us to pursue, because ever since I've been sitting up here, I've talked about how dangerous that is. I pass over it frequently. My daughter goes to school on the other side of the railroad tracks. And just recently, I sent a picture to Emily where there's a pedestrian trying to cross as a train's on the tracks. Like there needs to be safety measures put in. And I think that if we can get federal funding to support it, because it sounds like every time I've asked, the county's not necessarily putting that as a top priority. But there is a need to connect us and to make it safe. Also on social media, I came across a post in a mom's group where somebody was asking how we can get that put in. So it's not just me experiencing it with pedestrians actually there or runners or whatever. It's other members of the community trying to put this out in there. And this is a very valid need.
I walk it, it's dangerous along
So any improvements that we can make to railroad crossings, I think we should really support and invest in that. It's about safety, so.
Can I respond to that? Having spent 42 years in the railroad industry and investigating incidents and accidents and picking up body parts, I would agree 100% with that. My concern is the money itself. This is not something that's in our strategic business plan. This is something that we're going to have to consider depending on how much this matches and how are we going to pay for it? And where does this fall in the other priorities? So I think we're not ready for this, to be honest with you. I would need some more information. I am certainly in favor of safety, and I'll be talking about that during council member time. But I don't know if there's enough here for us to support that at this time.
And a big push on this, a big driver of your cost is the pedestrian crossing over the railroad. I mean, that is a huge, and it's over wetlands.
I would say since this is a competitive bid, it's a huge crapshoot. And I think I'm willing to take the risk to say, go ahead and try for it and worry about it later within our strategic plan. Because I mean, besides that, the moment we open that up, we need to think about opening up on the top of the hill on Old Carolina. And that's going to require eminent domain and a bunch of property capture for right there by Payne Lane.
Right, fair point, but I don't want to get us locked into something that we're committed to. So we have to be careful with that. We might not have the funds to do this. And if there's a reliance on, if all we're saying is that we support the application, I would be fine with that. But if it's
That
going to
what the
lock us
verbiage
into
is?
something that we're not prepared for because we haven't discussed it or budgeted for or put even in our CIP, because that would be a CIP item, I think. I think that's where I have some
We have
concern.
walkability, right, in there? That would be part of the.
No, but we don't have that number. We don't have a number in there for any of that, I don't believe.
Alexander.
So I'm trying to get a little bit better idea about what this will entail, or the benefits, right? So this is going to be
I don't-
pedestrian crossing over, like overpass, or what?
No,
At grade.
it's all at grade.
Huh?
It's at grade. Like you have the vehicle crossing.
Yes.
It would be an accessory crossing for pedestrians.
So from
With another set of arms.
So from a safety perspective, what is it? It just stops a person. There is some sort of an arm,
Yeah.
but it doesn't stop a person from just walking.
No, it
across.
doesn't.
It
And
doesn't.
that's going to be something I'll talk about at council member time.
Okay. And then the 20% out of what? What's the total amount? Do we have any idea?
I think she said
4.8.
625,000, you said it? Emily?
625.
Required transportation alternatives match.
In the verbiage, is it asking for our support in applying, or is it saying we're applying, we get it, you do it?
Like we're co-signing.
Yeah, if we're not,
Yeah.
are we locked into the number? Are we locked into a commitment?
The statement that came through request. Second request is, would the town please provide a resolution or letter of support for the project? And then the stated deadline.
So
It seems,
We can
So we can
support it.
Which doesn't mean we're the funders of it.
well, I mean, it could be
Get that
negotiable.
clarification though. Is that what you just said? Is that accurate? Or are we going to be on hook for the 20% or the 625K if we do get the grant?
Go ahead. Do you want to say something?
Go ahead. Okay.
I mean, this is a big ask. I kind of agree with what Councilman Pasanaro is saying here, because in thinking of our priority list, thinking of our strategic plan, we already went through the scenario that we already know potentially if we go through this project, we're talking about 285,000 annually for the next 20 years. And to add another additional 625, I mean, I always like to say that we're good, but I think one of the discussions we've always had is that how much can we handle? You know, we're being very, respecting when it comes to the revenues we are coming through, the projects, the future projects we do plan, and we are already on the brink of starting once we get council, on board and make that final decision. But I mean, this is a lot financially. For something that we don't know if it's a guarantee and how much more it could potentially be. As we all found out on projects, estimates are estimates. But if you're talking about 3 years from down the road, inflation, what the cost would be, it could potentially be more. So this is something that I personally don't feel comfortable. We have enough information to do so, but also falling back on our strategic plan and what we do have. How are the steps we've already taken forward with the town center possibility, with the investments we've already made for this project itself. I think that this is something maybe I would reconsider at this time.
Go ahead.
So looking at, does all of this fall within the boundaries of the town in
No.
terms of?
No.
So how
About
many?
half of it.
Half of it. Do we know how many feet?
From the railroad
So,
tracks.
Yeah, basically here is the town line.
There's a total of 780 feet, and then I don't have the exact linear feet that are in the town.
That's why I was asking if the 20%
But
was
it's
the
about-
entire project or just our portion of the project.
Yeah, that's
The
right.
way I understand it, it would be the entirety of the project, the 20% match. I can clarify that.
That doesn't, yeah, but that's
think
not
that's
fair. That doesn't make sense,
Uh,
right?
Ours
Yeah.
would be the most expensive though.
I'm going with a hard no.
The railroad crossing and the bridge is all ours, because I think the waterway's under ours.
Yeah, the waterway is
Paying
us.
for less than what we're getting.
Can I just say, it's not ready for prime time?
I agree.
So Emily,
We need more
I
information.
think they're looking for our support, but what's the likelihood that they will be willing, the county in this case, to pick up, to absorb the entire 625K? If we get the grant? No?
I mean, we have to have, we have to have some skin in the game.
Yeah.
I get that,
Yeah.
but it should be apportioned,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
That's
Proportionate to what's in town versus what's not in town.
at a minute, yeah.
Plus-
Because the majority of the projects. on
Well,
our side.
if that's a commitment we
Well,
want to make.
Well, plus,
I
I'm
would
still
say-
okay with that.
plus
I
we're
mean,
county,
it's-
we're county taxpayers, so county should be contributing anyways.
Right.
So, I mean, it's all a shell game of money.
What is the date that they gave for response?
They need it for the deadline of the application,
Right.
which is September 15th.
Okay, so.
We support it.
Yeah.
I have a question.
I don't,
Don't know if we have the money for it, but we'll support it. Just won't commit to it.
If I may, is there a way that we can express support without committing to the money aspect of it, where we're saying we support the application piece, but at this point in time, we sort of leave out the monetary contribution aspect of it?
well, you could try,
We could try.
but I think they would probably want to attach it to the application, say here, Haymarket supports the application, and then we say, well, but we can't commit to our 20% share. That's probably not going to help us
Okay.
or help the county get their grant. Having talked to some people that do that at the
I see.
federal government.
Okay.
So it's obvious that
Did
they
they look
do,
at
the
where the
county,
money's coming from at the time?
they do understand that there is a
On
need,
award?
but they want us to fund,
Yeah.
absorb the entire, that doesn't make sense to me, right?
Maybe we should have talked about it when they were all in the room.
Exactly. Well, if they don't meet this deadline, then it goes another year, which I was going to ask about if they ever resurrected the grade crossing, the quiet zone. That's been very quiet for 3 years.
They, sorry, I'm trying to think what Paolo said on Friday.
Well,
It was in regards to 15, that application.
Mayor,
So we're saying we're not in support due to the percentage of contribution?
Is it the percentage of contribution or is it the total amount? So if they came back and if I go to them and say the town of Haymarket is not in support of it because of the 20% match, if the town was only having to support 20% of the portion within the town of Haymarket, is that saying you would be on board?
I don't know until we do that calculation.
Okay.
We're in support of the project, but we don't understand how much we would have to commit to.
Right. I would also put in there that we're not ready to commit the financial obligation portion due to our current CIP items. Like we have projects we've already committed to.
That's right.
And to be honest, like when did they give this to us? Last week? Or?
No, this has been in discussion. I mean, we've had this discussion with the county for years about that.
Sure, right.
grade
Every time I brought it up,
crossing
they're
and
like, it's not
that
happening.
Sidewalk.
But the TAP grant.
So they've been working on this for the last, at least since May, they've been working on this. This has been a discussion. We've done site walks with them. I mean, it's been discussed for some time.
Okay.
We did not have a full project scope and dollar amount assigned to it until
right
much more recently.
And that's going to escalate.
I think that's probably going to impact our ability to commit the most. So maybe we need to wait a year and see if our CIP can accommodate that.
And please remind them that the residents also pay property tax.
There you go.
Right.
So are we in agreement that Emily's going to go back to them saying we're in support, not financially?
Yes.
And see what the response is, but we're all okay with if it isn't adequate, then we'll wait.
Yes.
We're in
Okay.
support, but we don't understand what you're asking for commitment.
Okay.
No, at all. I mean,
We're in
not
support of the
prepared.
project, but we're not, we don't understand what they're asking for a commitment here, and we can't answer that
We would
until
need
we
more
get that.
information in order for us to proceed with
Okay.
a full endorsement.
Okay. We're all good?
Yeah.
All
I know
right.
Joe said something about he's going to speak to public safety.
Oh,
I don't
that's
want-
the council
down.
member time.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Speaking of which,
Oh.
it's
Okay.
council
Moving
member
on.
time.
Is that clear as mud?
All right, and we are going to start with council member Ramirez.
Thank you. I was prepared to pay homage to Bob here. So I wanted to say thank you to everyone who came out. I hope that his family was watching and they can see how much he is loved and missed. My only takeaway or my big takeaway is I'm going to make it a habit to ask myself, what am I missing? I'm going to frame my mind in that way moving forward. So thank you, Bob. I also want to say thank you to staff and our police department for hosting our wonderful events. But not only that, our daily functioning is all thanks to you. And, you know, we have a lot to be proud of. So thank you. And the weather has been beautiful. I hope you all are getting to enjoy it. Spend time with your loved ones and your neighbors and be safe.
All right, next up was Councilmember Baker, but he is not here, so we're going to go to Councilmember Banning.
Yes, I just want to thank the town staff for organizing the proclamation for Bob. I appreciate it. I'm sure the other council members did, and most likely his family and close friends as well. So thank you very much.
Councilmember Passanello.
I'll use the balance of his time in Baker's. So
Okay, I'll put my
I have a
pen
few
down.
things I want to go over.
Danica, is that you?
Yes, yes, thank you. I do love her hair, though. I really do.
Yeah, it's
I wish I had hair like that. Anyway, so first of all, let's talk about Bob a little bit more. It was a wonderful evening. I think it was a great turnout. I was glad to see it. I just want to remind everybody that, and we talked about it, perhaps next Tuesday at 2 o'clock at McCourt, they're also going to do a proclamation at the county. So if you can make it, that would be great. I'm going to try to make it myself.
We're closing town hall and staff will be there.
Oh, Bob would say, what?
I know, but we're doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then following that, there's going to be a celebration of Bob's life, as we all know, at Giuseppe's. So if we could get that posted, maybe Julia can pop that out there.
We're waiting, Rebecca and team are gonna get us the appropriate
flyer?
flyer they
Okay.
want sent out.
All right. And just for everybody's edification, that's from 1 to 4 p.m. Okay. All right. And then on September 20th is the Fall Festival at Leopold's Preserve. And I was hoping I would give this to you that we could get that posted as well. That's a really fun-filled day. I'll just read something real quick so everybody's aware of it. September 20th from 10 to 2, a free community event. A joint effort between the White House Farm Foundation and the Northern Virginia Conservation Trust. It's not that far from here. Other activities will include guided hikes through the preserve, raffles, face painting, food trucks, outreach booths from a variety of organizational groups that are environmental and local small businesses. So, all right, next thing is Rail Safety Week, and Chief and I have talked about this a little bit. It is now called C-Train Think Tracks, all right? And that'll be from Monday, as it was in Chief's report, Monday, September 15th through Sunday, September 21st. And there are some interesting bits of information here. And one of the things it talks about on Saturday, 9/20, is trespass prevention. Very important. And with that, I just want to make, the point was well taken that safety is really important at grade crossings, and we have to do something there. We're just not prepared to do something right now. So just a couple of statistics here. Every 3 hours in the United States, a vehicle or person is hit by a train. That's very frequent, right? And one of the biggest problems is more than 2,300 people are killed or injured annually in either railroad crossing or trespass incidents. So trying to keep people off the tracks is, especially people that go to take pictures and what have you for a high school yearbook or something, it's a real problem. And I can tell you, having operated from the locomotive cab, it's not a fun thing. I've been involved in fatalities, and it sticks with you for the rest of your career. So that's really important to get the word out on that. And more than 60% of collisions occur at, believe it or not, at crossings that are equipped with lights and gates. So even when you have all of the jewelry on these crossings, there's still accidents like we've seen at 15. So I just want to go through real quick. So Monday, there's a promotion starting 9/15. 9/16, it's Operation Clear Track. That's where law enforcement and first responders get out there and talk to the community and all that stuff. Crossing safety on Wednesday, transit safety, professional driver day on Thursday. Friday is volunteering with Operation Lifesaver International, or OLI. Wear red for rail safety. Talked about trespass prevention. And oh, my favorite, on Saturday, no photo, video, selfie is worth the risk. So they focus on that area. So that's something you might want to share with your young drivers in the family, or graduates, or even young kids. Get them started early. So I'd like to see if we could get this posted somehow. And Chief, I don't know if you want to expound on that any, but this is something that I think is really important. Okay. Lastly, I was out driving around on Saturday, and I saw the folks from Alex's Army. And as we all saw, the gold, right? The gold bows. And so with that, September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And so it's also Blood Cancer Awareness Month. And I was thinking about Bob because of his cancer. Well, that's another month. But I thought it would be appropriate if I could just read a little bit about Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. All right. You go gold for kids. Childhood cancer is the #1 disease related cause of death for children. And this is the one that really is important and why we have to do more research for kids. Childhood cancers receive less than 4% of our national research funding. Adults receive 96%. So there's that big imbalance, and that's always been the challenge. So I think it's really important that, we reach out to our elected officials and say, we need to do more for our kids. I mean, that's our future, right? And just a couple other things. 46 children are diagnosed every day with some form of cancer. Think about that. 46. And 7 children die every day from childhood cancer. I mean, these are staggering statistics. And there's only been 3 drug cancers approved by the FDA in the last 20 years for use in children. In the last year, there were 20 approved drugs for adult cancers, and I've been a beneficiary of one of those. The drugs our kids are taking for treatment are really meant for use in adults. So that goes hand in hand with the research. So, I mean, it's something that has to get out there. I think it's great that they do the bow ties. It's wonderful, but we need to be a little bit more cognizant of what's happening here. And because funding is so limited, researchers must choose which childhood cancers will be funded year to year. And often the more rare childhood cancers go left unfunded. So, I mean, there's a lot of challenges. So, and, finally, last year, we had a young lady here. You guys remember that? And I think it's Kendall Leibowitz. And Kendall is a beneficiary of these drugs and the research. And she went from Battlefield High School, and she is now at Purdue studying in her junior or freshman year. So I think that's a testament to what can be done when we fund childhood cancer. So that's all I have to say. Thank you. Thanks for indulging me.
All right, Vice Mayor. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Councilman Lurson, I apologize. That's what I get for not having my glasses on.
Well, it's been a long day and my brain is mush too, so I'll make mine real quick. Definitely want to give my condolences out to Bob's family and really appreciate everything that happened tonight for the effort with Bob. Second thing, I want to thank staff for the engagement with Prince William County and the stormwater management program. If I can paraphrase Neil Armstrong, one small step by Haymarket government, one giant leap for Haymarket citizens. So thank you. That's all I have.
Now I can go. Look, tonight was great. I think a lot of it's already been said. I think we all know how much Bob Weir touched on everybody's lives. I think, whenever I think of these sad events, frankly, it was great to see everybody coming out with stories, having laughs, and remembering him as the person that he was. And he'll continue to be a part of that. Other thing I just wanted to mention, I really enjoyed our conversation. I like considering this mural and the sign, and it actually got me thinking that it's kind of been nice walking around and going into a lot of our local businesses. I'm not sure how many people have realized how many murals and how many, especially of our newer businesses, have actually something painted representing the town in their businesses. And it's just been, I don't want to list them all here out of fear of missing somebody and then being told I missed them. But there are, suffice to say, there's a good number in a lot of our local businesses that have also put in murals and put in artwork. I would encourage everybody to go around town and then start to see what's out there and see what represents our town and a lot of these local businesses, and maybe staff, we could work on putting together a little scavenger hunt for people as like a little addendum for that, where you could go and, check the box and get something for finding all the artwork in town. And then just on a lighter note, I'm going the complete opposite direction of what Joe has, because I looked at I always look at the national days in, and what's going on. And I found one here, and Mary, I'm gonna be looking at you on this one for help, all right? Because you're on September 23rd is the Dogs in Politics and Government Day. All right, and I think we have a good number of of our canine friends here that I think should get more involved in our government. I think we should maybe try to see if we can get them involved. So, but no, that was just on a lighthearted note. But again, thanks to everybody for coming out tonight. But look forward to seeing everybody in the coming weeks.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So we had a great turnout for the Business Roundtable. Lots of interaction. National Night Out and Summer Concert. Summer Concert, come on now. There was a prize for dressing up. It would have been staff. So thank you so much for everything that you guys do. Super excited about Haymarket Day on the 18th of October. I know that we are planning it and already mapping things out. So that's exciting. I will be doing the mayor's tent on September 7th at the farmer's market. And I am blown away with the number of people that came out to share stories about Bob. I will always have moments of laughter and a tear or two, missing my friend and my mentor. So thank you. That's all I have. All right.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All right. I've got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.